because it's hard to convey how you do things.
The X's and O's, sure,
yeah.
no problem. I can describe that.
But the execution of them.
Yeah, unless you either have that ability or you don't, and that's just the easiest way to describe it.
Okay. As we wait for the line rushes, we'll go to our final break of the evening. It's Face Off Live for the Stanley Cup Final, presented by Carlsberg on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Top of the hour, Channel 91. John Eilers, Brian Hayward. If you want the Florida Panthers, call Sirius 211 XM 220 with Doug Plagins and Billy Lindsay. The Edmonton Oilers call Sirius XM 167 with Jack Michaels and Bob Stauffer. Let's go to a break, and after this, we'll be back for our final segment of the show.
Backhand a save off the run.
The series shifts south, and Florida takes center ice as the Stanley Cup Final heads to the Sunshine State. It's still anyone's series, and everything is on the line.
Rebound score! Corey Perry!
Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The NBA Finals are here.
Everything Indiana does, Oklahoma City can say, we got one of those, and it's better.
Join the daily conversation on Sirius XM NBA Radio. Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine tip it off on the starting lineup.
They have zero weaknesses.
Then it's Rob Perez and Antonio Daniels on Give and Go.
Deserving conference champions on both sides.
And Justin Termini and Eddie Johnson get you ready for all the action on NBA Today.
They have too much talent.
Expert analysis and instant reaction throughout the NBA Finals is on NBA Radio Channel 86 and the Sirius XM app.
Not every business qualifies for an SBA loan, but that doesn't mean you're out of options. At Swish Funding, we provide fast, flexible funding solutions designed to keep your business moving forward. Whether you need a short-term bridge while exploring SBA options, additional capital alongside an SBA loan, or a reliable alternative, Swish Funding can help. With funding from $10,000 to $2 million, you can cover payroll, cash flow, inventory, equipment, and more, with funds available in as little as 24 hours. Here's what you need to know. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year and generate a minimum of $50,000 in monthly revenue. Don't let a roadblock stop your growth. Get the funding you need fast. Visit swishfunding.com today or call 1-888-25-SWISH. That's 1-888-25-SWISH. Terms and conditions apply. All loans are subject to approval and qualifying criteria. Swish Funding is not affiliated with the Small Business Administration, and our products are independent of SBA loans.
The 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs. Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
And the Sirius XM app.
It's Face Off Live from the Stanley Cup Final, presented by Carlsberg on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. I'm Dennis, that's Dave. The day before we get to the line rushes, and
I do have one quick update. It looks like Nuge is in the lineup today. The initial roster report, they have the full rosters up, the lineup for both clubs. Looks like Nuge is playing. It's possible it changes last minute, but as of this moment, Nugent Hopkins is in.
Yeah. Non-Cup Final related, do want to mention today, TJ Oshie, 2018 Stanley Cup champion, finished a 17-year career, 695 points in 1,010 games. Announced his retirement in D.C. today, around where the fountains where he swam with his boys back in 2018 when they won the Stanley Cup. So we wish TJ the best. He did a little bit of a appearance on ESPN on their game night studio. So we wish TJ Oshie the best in this retirement.
Warm-up still well underway here. We got about 5 minutes left in them. A lot of players, I think, a lot of the Panther players are huddled in the corner. They're looking at their families are there with the kids and everything. So they're enjoying some of this. There's that Schmidt.
And you mentioned Schmidt. Schmidt's been a great pickup by Bill Zito, who's been obviously brilliant rebuilding this team. Because I remember this team 5-6 years ago. I think they lost to the Islanders in 5, and they were a soft team.
Yes.
And now to see what they went from there to the type of team they are now. I know Bill Zito didn't. I know Jim Nill won the GM of the Year award, but Bill Zito's done a massive job for this franchise, and one of the reasons why back in the day there were maybe 8,000-9,000 people in the building, and now it's a sellout every night.
Did they announce the GM award yet?
Not for this. Yeah.
No, I thought you meant this year.
No, but Nill won it back to back.
Nill won it back to back. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's up for it again. So's Bill Zito and Kevin Shoveldayoff.
Yeah.
completely forgot what I was going to say because I was watching Evander Kane throw a puck way up high for some reason.
Don't watch the puck, Dave. You're never supposed to watch the puck.
That's true. So
you get hit in the head, you watch the puck. I was mentioning about Nate Schmidt being added to this roster.
Well, and look, they needed a veteran presence and some physicality to be added to the back end.
Albrecht and Larson left, went to go to Toronto.
You get the two-way element out. Jones has been a step up since he came in, but they needed a veteran presence there.
Yep.
And Nate Schmidt has been providing that for them all season. He's been a solid piece. He could have signed for more money elsewhere, so that was also a bit of a factor for him, but he wanted an opportunity to win. He fit the mold of this group, and there you go. So
and good on him for accepting a third pair role. Some guys' egos get involved. They want to play 20 minutes a night. They want to be in the top 4 pair. But when you come to a championship team that's on the verge of possibly winning back-to-back titles, sometimes you say, okay, I'll take a role as a third pair defenseman.
Right. Yes, and we'll see kind of again how things are laid out. Deep pairing switched a little bit. What I wanted to mention with Schmidt on the back end, one of the things the Panthers did really well in Game 2, their defensive pairing or their defensive core was getting to the pucks first.
Yeah,
they did a very good job in getting the pucks first and then clearing the zone. And doing it with relative.
Forsling had a massive game. He was fantastic.
He was great. The Mikula show continues here throughout the playoffs, and it's been interesting to see. I've got to think that they're going to want to maintain that. Now the difference here is now that we're in Sunrise, the Florida Panthers have final change.
I don't think these coaches change the matchups that much, though, Dave.
No, but when you get later on in the game when Edmonton wants to load up and they got a face-off in their offensive zone. Florida can adjust a little bit more accordingly.
Sure,
if you're dealing with Draisaitl instead of Nuge on the wing with McDavid and Perry, they can kind of tackle that one a little bit differently because of the final change. That might be a factor for them later on in the game if they are up to try to keep that lead and contain it.
What I'd like to see, though, Dave, what I don't want to see is another 50-minute first period that we had in Game 2. The referees called that really, I mean, I know there were goals scored and stuff, but the referee in the first period of Game 2 was a little too tight for my liking.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was more the linesman than anything trying to drop that puck. 75.
Oh, you don't like the linesman delaying? No, there were just a lot of penalties, just too many stoppages in play. 50 minutes for a first period, it's just too long.
It was a lot. There was definitely a lot going on. And who knows what we'll see, what we'll see in this one. The players are just slowly starting to usher their way back to the dressing rooms. Got about a minute 20 left in warm-up and about 25 minutes, give or take, until puck drop, something along those lines. 8:22 in that range for puck drop. DJ Khaled's performing.
Yep.
He's also doing an intermission show in the first intermission. So DJ Khaled, he'll give you another one, like we have another game to talk about tonight.
Dave, I was on VSiN before with my good friends Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard, and we talked about the Conn Smythe. And they asked me if there's any way that if Edmonton won, Connor McDavid not win the Conn Smythe. And I'm like, unless Leon Draisaitl goes off, and Leon's had a good final so far, but unless he scores a hat trick and gets maybe 4 or 5 goals, voters are human beings. And to see Connor McDavid lift the Stanley Cup wherever it's, if it's here, if it's in Edmonton, I don't see how you don't vote him the Conn Smythe if they go on and win.
Yeah, it's different than last year, right?
Yeah.
If Edmonton wins, I think it's kind of neck and neck, Leon and Connor, but Connor is just for them to win. He's going to.
We talk about legacy and everything, and just I don't see how they win unless Leon goes off and, like I said, has 6 or 7 goals here in the last 4 or 5 games. How you can't give it to Connor McDavid?
And it's different, as I was saying earlier, because Florida won last year. McDavid got the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really that star presence on Florida that really stepped up.
He had 42 points in 25 games.
Sam Bennett has been fantastic in these playoffs, with and without the puck. Not understanding.
It's a great story.
Understanding forget about the goalie business and all that stuff and the love taps. But Sam Bennett, 12 goals on the road. NHL record in the playoffs, 13 altogether. We'll see what he does here tonight. But if Florida does hoist the Stanley Cup and Bennett continues, even if McDavid and Draisaitl continue their pace as well, I think this one's leaning more in Sam's way.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, last year it would have been Bob, right? If Connor didn't go off and have 42 points, would have been Bob. And unless Bob has a couple of shutouts here down the stretch, I think if the Panthers win it, I don't think there's another option other than Sam Bennett, to be honest with you, Dave.
Yeah, I think it's kind of clear cut there. Corey Perry tossing the puck down the other end of the ice, missing. You know, it was interesting. Let's see, the Florida Panthers trying it. Nope, they miss as well. One more shot. That one's going in. There it is. I don't know who that is.
From Greer.
Was it Greer?
A.J. Greer, number 10, yep.
So there you go. Marchand coming off the ice. Everybody's off. Cleanup crew's coming out. We're getting ready for the start of this one. I'm excited, man. This is a game. To see what we saw in the first two games of the Stanley Cup Final, and then to have it carry over now into Game 3.
Yeah, the drama
here in Sunrise.
Off the chart.
2 days off.
Yep.
We get 2 days off in
between. A little bit rest
3
for the
and 4.
players. A lot of travel. You know, it's different in South Florida. Maybe it's I think it's a more defensive-minded game tonight, Dave. I really do. I think the travel, the humidity is probably like you mentioned, it's cold in this building, but I think the humidity might get to it. So I don't think we're going to see a 5-4 or 4-3 game. I think it might be a lower scoring game. And if you look at 3 to 4 games last year in Florida, if you're an over/under better, they all went over. 3 to 4 went under the 5.5, the 6.5 total.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. I agree with you. I think it will be tighter unless there's a weird bounce in the early going. There's a quick lead from one team, let's say Florida. They rebound afterwards with another quick one. Edmonton's on their heels, and then Florida just pumps them.
Yep.
It could be vice versa as well. I was just using that as an example. But I agree with you. Barring something happening in the first 5 minutes of this, where all of a sudden it's a 2-0 type score, I think this is going to be a very tighter game.
Well, Dave, you have the Panthers in 6, but your prediction tonight?
I have the Florida Panthers winning this one tonight. I think they take a 2-1 lead going into 4.
I'll go with the Panthers, too. Even though I have the Oilers in 7, I think they even the score in Game 4. And it's that weird stat about the teams that 8 of 19 teams that have won Game 3 eventually won it all. So I think that's you think it's a crucial game, but if you look at the numbers, it's maybe not that critical. So if your team loses tonight,
not with the way these teams are playing,
take a little solace saying that they can come back from behind. That'll do it for Face Off Live from the Stanley Cup Final, presented by Carlsberg, probably the best beer in the world on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Stay on Channel 91, John Allers, Brian Hayward. The Florida Panthers call Sirius 211, XM 220, Doug Clayton's Billy Lindsay. Sirius XM 167, Jack Michaels and Bob Stuffer. Enjoy the
songs that make dads nod with approval. Where air guitar is a sport, the socks are white and mid-calf. Dad rock. Undeniable dad jams and jokes so bad they're good. Listen now through Father's Day on Channel 105 on most radios and stream it year-round in the SiriusXM app. Just search Dad Rock.
Business owners, have you ever considered cashing out and selling your company? If so, it could be worth a lot more than you think. If your business has annual revenues of $10 million to $250 million, you need to call the experts at Carnegie Point. With over 20 years of experience, we specialize in helping business owners like you navigate the process of selling your company smoothly, confidentially, and for the best possible price. Did you know that depending on your industry, you can potentially sell for 5 to over 10 times your annual net earnings? This means that we typically sell our clients' businesses at valuations of $20 million to over $200 million. We know that selling your business can be a big decision. That's why we take the time to understand your goals and guide you through every step of the process. Call Carnegie Point for your free company financial analysis and our expert opinion on what your business is worth. Call 800-945-6440. That's 800-945-6440. Or visit CarnegiePoint.com.
Everything is better on ice.
Caulfield steals, comes in. Caulfield across, score! Nick Suzuki!
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
XM 91.
Sports USA's coverage of the Stanley Cup Final is on the air. Tonight, it's Game 3 between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers.
Having trouble with it was Verhaeghe. Finds a man at the line and they score! Through traffic, Dmitry Kulikov.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, Granger, Wendy's, and by T-Mobile.
Now it's a puck battle up the boards and to the point. Wallman walks it to the middle. His shot bounces off a couple of bodies. They score! Corey Perry got to it!
Now, live from Emirates Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida, here are John Ollers, Brian Hayward, and Billy Jaffe.
Well, for fear of overstatement, we've seen two epic games in the 2025 Stanley Cup Final to begin this series, and very little between these two teams as the Florida Panthers get set to host Game 3 against the Edmonton Oilers, tied at a game apiece. Brian Hayward, through two games, what are your takeaways, and is there that much between these two teams?
I think the numbers say it particularly well. The Panthers and Oilers have been separated by a one-goal margin or have been tied for 99% of playing time through the first two contests. So there's nothing to choose between these two teams. These games boil down to who makes the critical mistake at the wrong time or who makes the phenomenal play. What we've seen so far has been predominantly the phenomenal play that has ended up being the difference in the games.
Yeah, terrific hockey games, and I think rightfully so. We come to Game 3 with this series where it should be, tied at a game apiece. Both teams could probably make the case that they could be up 2-0. You could also make the case that they could be down 2 games tonight. Big question mark coming into this one. One of the stars for the Edmonton Oilers, we weren't sure if he was going to play or not, so warm-up has concluded. Let's go ringside to the third member of our broadcast team, Billy Jaffe. What did you see as the Oil warmed up?
Yeah, a lot of speculation if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was going to be able to play or not, given he didn't skate yesterday. He did, however, take an optional morning skate, and he got some puck touches and a couple of shots and everything. To me, fellas, it looked like he's playing. I'm going to assume that he is, given he took some rushes. I was on the bench as well and watching him, and he was just handling the puck. Now, one thing to keep an eye on is face-offs, and we'll see where he's at, because he took 7 of them in Game 2. He's 1 win, 6 losses. That's compared to 16 face-offs that he took in Game 1. So there's obviously, it feels like something's going on upper body-wise with him, but we'll keep an eye on that. But to me, Johnny Ollers, it looks like RNH will be in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, and Brian, that's what you and I saw here watching the warm-up as well. Obviously, this is a large development. Even if he plays, probably speculation is that he's less than 100%.
Yeah, we talked to Chris Knobloch prior to the start of this one, and he said he's going to be a game-time decision. It all depends what he says to us after the pregame skate.
So the series tied at 1. Game 3 from Emirates Bank Arena here in Sunrise, Florida in the offing. You are listening to Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on Sports USA.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you.
What's up, hockey fans? Thank you for hanging out with us for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals from wherever you are watching from all over the world. We appreciate you being here. Please help us get more hockey fans here in the chat by sharing this link out. Exit out of the chat, hit that thumbs up, that like button, and share this link out. Put it out on social media, send it out to the hockey boards, send it through an old telegram. However you get it done, get more people here cheering on the Oilers because we need to bring the cup back home to Canada. Thank you for helping us with the YouTube regular business. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Oilers, go! We'll see you back in the chat.
Bob Bugner, who worked with Warren Reichel on those powerhouse Windsor teams. Warren's now the head of pro scouting for the Edmonton Oilers. Warren Reichel's old buddy Bob Bugner, the new assistant coach for the New York Islanders. 12 minutes to face off. This is Rogers Game Night on the Oilers Radio Network.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
Our people, our team. It's what business owners almost always say is their most important resource. But strong businesses don't just find great people. They make sure their teams stay healthy, engaged.
Boom. What's up, insiders? Good to see everybody tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and keeping it classy in the chat. Oh yeah, we're keeping it classy here. These finals games always get crazy. Everybody wants to get crazy in the chat. I love it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us make a difference. With SickKids Hospital, I can't wait. On Wednesday, we have a phone call with Samara. We're going to have some new stuff towards the end of the series. Because, yes, this series is going to go long. We're here for Game 3. It's tied 1-1. Who is going to win tonight? I think the Oilers get it done on the road. I think the Oilers have been the better team in this series so far, even though it has been a dead tight series. Oh my goodness, it has been a tight series. Alexander Skull in the chat. Shroom, April, Arian the Goat, Chris P. I love it. Not sure. What's up, not sure? All right, we're heading back. The radio's caught back up here to the guys in the booth. Let's get after it. We'll see you in the chat.
Rob, this series probably deserves to be tied 1-1, and it's been a hell of a series through the first 2 games, a pair of overtime games.
Well, we had expectations that this was going to be a fantastic series, and the physicality and the star power and goaltenders making big saves, but I'm not sure that even the most optimistic analysts would have thought they'd be as good as they were the first 2 games, and I agree. It would have been unfair to either of these teams to be up 2-0 or down 2-0. This was a series that has been so equal. Chances both ways, both teams having an opportunity to win games in overtime, both teams having goalies make big saves and saving their opportunity or saving those chances. It goes to Florida tied 1-1, and Bob, I think it should be.
All right. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins did not take a lot of face-offs from the middle of the second period through the third period. Of course, to say that things are under tight wraps is to say the least. He is going to play tonight. We have no idea what it is. We might have a bit of an idea what it is. But nonetheless, that's an important player to remain in the Oilers lineup, especially given the massive absence of Zach Hyman, who led the NHL in goals last year.
Well, had RNH been out of the lineup, the Oilers would have been out without their 3rd and 4th best forwards. So it would have been huge. And one of the reasons that the Oilers are able to put Connor and Leon together at times is because you have RNH that can center the second line. So it would have been huge. But it's funny, I've done a number of interviews, and we talked with Bryn earlier. There was 0 chance he was missing this game. If he did not have a cast on, or if he wasn't on crutches, he was playing in tonight's hockey game. So is he compromised? Yes, but I bet you there's 5 or 6 players on each team that is also compromised right now. You play through it, and 10 days from now, hopefully you're celebrating with the Stanley Cup, and at that point you can discuss whatever injuries ailed you through the playoffs. But every one of these players right now is playing through something. But this is a Stanley Cup Finals. You are not missing these hockey games.
All right, let's talk a bit about the change to the Oilers' defense. They're going to break up the pairing of Nurse and Kulak that I thought in particular were having some problems under the ferocious Florida forecheck. Nurse will play with Klingberg and Kulak and Wallman. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that there were things that Knobloch didn't like in game 1 and 2 in his own zone. And we've seen Chris Knobloch over I guess this would be his 8th series in the playoffs coaching, that in the first couple games he gets a feel for what his team is doing, what the opposition is doing, and then games 3 and 4 he starts to make adjustments. And the record that he has over the final 4 through 7 games shows that most of his adjustments have worked out very, very well. So the thing with the Oilers, they've played with so many players. They all interchange throughout the season. They've had so many injuries down the stretch that it's not hard for these players to get pushed into a different situation, playing with a different player. But the key for tonight, for the 2 new pairings, will be communication. Because when you have a team that forechecks as hard and as fast as the Florida Panthers do, you have to have your teammate, your defensive pairman, yelling and telling you where to move the puck so that as you're getting crushed into the glass, you put the puck in the right spot.
Rob, these teams are so evenly matched and so good. There's going to be dominant swings during the process. Florida's had 2 strong second periods of long changes. Tonight they get A.J. Greer back, and I know Jesper Boquist is fast, but he's small. And Greer's a big, heavy hammer. This team plays with an identity that nobody else does. Now, that said, they're awesome on the road. They're 9-3 on the road. They're only 4-3 at home. I have no idea why that's the case. But, I expect Florida to come out with a big performance here in the first period.
I agree, and I think it's just a blip, the home record right now, and you just hope that it doesn't start to straighten out to way you would think it would be, where all of a sudden they're 7-3 by the end of the playoffs. They are a big physical team and just got another big physical player back into their lineup. Their fourth line was very good, and probably a little more trust for the coaching staff, knowing that they got Greer back there instead of a Boquist. So maybe that gives the fourth line a few more minutes in this hockey game. But if the Oilers defense thought that they were being manhandled a little bit physically through the first two games, well, they're going to see a little bit more of it, because Greer is big, he is fast, and he finishes every check.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Stuart Skinner on the game-winning goal. I mean, it was a tough play. It's a breakaway. Brad Marchand went 2 for 2 on breakaways. How about this, Rob? In the 9 games played between these two teams over the 2 years, the save percentage for the two goalies is the same, .904. Does that surprise you at all?
It does, because this should be a huge advantage to the Florida Panthers. They got, I would say, at this point in the NHL, he's the best money goaltender in the world. So if your goaltender is close to him, then you have advantages other places in your lineup that you should be able to find ways to win if your goaltender matches the great one on the other side. So Skinner's been very good in this series. Bobrovsky's been excellent in this series. And as this series moves forward, as we've seen with the way the first two games have been, that one extra save has got both team a victory. So both Skinner and Bobrovsky will be tested. I think that the Florida Panthers, as you said, will come out hot and heavy. If that's the case, Stuart Skinner's going to have to make a few saves early in this hockey game to help the Oilers survive, which probably will be a very quick 10 minutes for the Florida Panthers.
There you go. The first 10 minutes, that'll be a huge key for the Oilers. And that's the Ford Keys to the Game, brought to you by Ford, the official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Built Ford proud. Jack Michaels with the call. Up next, live from Amerant Bank Arena. Game 3 Stanley Cup Final. The Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers tied 1-1. Up next on the Oilers Radio Network.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Steelhaus Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, 1 powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steelhaus is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world...
Aren't those pretty? Those are so pretty. Cheers, everybody in the chat. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Here we go. Here we go. Who's ready? I'm ready. I'm ready for this game to get going. I'm fired up. I love it. Genevieve there in the chat. Cheers. It's the best. Sync it up with the TV. That's what we do right here. Boom. Synced up. Ready to go. Ready to party. With all of you here in the chat, I'm going to go refill this bad boy. And we'll see you back in there. Get the chant going. Go, Oilers, go. Go, Oilers, go. Go, Canada, go. Go, Canada, go. Hey, anything. Panthers fans too, go ahead. But I'm going Oilers tonight. So go, Oilers, go. All right, let's get this puck dropped. Come on.
In the game, an in-house one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they're the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
We're live in Sunrise, Florida for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, with the Panthers having scratched out a 5-4 overtime verdict on Friday night to even this best-of-7 Stanley Cup Final at a game apiece and essentially reduce it to a best-of-5 and a Game 3 that's often the tipping point. Historically, in the last 30 Stanley Cup Finals that have been tied at 1 game apiece, the Game 3 winner has won on 23 occasions. Let's get a look at our Coventry Ohms starting lineup. I'm Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer to my immediate right, and of course Bryn and Rob back in our 880 Ched Studios, the flagship home of the Oilers radio network. The biggest news, of course, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will be in Edmonton's lineup tonight opposite Connor McDavid at center, and of course Corey Perry on the right-hand side. Nugent-Hopkins didn't take a lot of face-off, didn't take any really the last half of the game on Friday night, so we'll keep an eye on that in terms of his effectiveness. But that's the line that starts in front of goaltender Stuart Skinner. Defensive pairings, Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm remain intact. We're expecting to see a lot of Kulak and Wallman, Nurse and Klingberg tonight. Your starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Ohms, offering flexibility within reach. Get back in the game with customizable designs by Coventry Ohms, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers. On the Florida side, the Panthers counter with Sergei Bobrovsky in net. He has stopped 42 of 46 shots in each of the first two games of this series. And historically in the Stanley Cup Final, he's played to a save percentage of 93 at home as compared to 85 on the road. Gustav Forsling and Aaron Ekblad, their top defensive pairing, will start in front of Bobrovsky, and a line that quite frankly needs to get going from a Florida standpoint. Alexander Barkov at center with Reinhart and Verhaeghe the wingers. Barkov and Reinhart do not have any points in this series and are a combined -7 in the first two games, and yet Florida has played Edmonton, as Bob has noted throughout our pregame show, essentially even, with the Oilers winning game one by a count of 4-3 in overtime and Florida prevailing 5-4 in double overtime. One note, Chris Knobloch, of course, coaches Edmonton. Paul Maurice on the Florida side, and the veteran coach for the Panthers can win his 1,000th game tonight. 1,000 combined regular season and playoff victories. That's your table setter. Edmonton, Florida. 5 consecutive games decided by 1 goal, and in this Stanley Cup Final, through nearly 9 periods of play, they've been separated by more than 1 goal, exactly 77 seconds. 2 absolute beauties in Edmonton. Now the scene shifts to Florida for tonight's Game 3 and Thursday's Game 4. Oiler fans scattered throughout the building tonight, but definitely Florida feeling that home ice vibe. It has not paid off for the Panthers to the same degree that they've done on the road this year. The Panthers are only 4-3 at home in the postseason. They are 9-3 away from home. And the Oilers, of course, come in with 6 wins in their last 7 games on the road, including closeout victories in Dallas and in Vegas, 2 of the tougher places to play in the Western Conference. Florida on home ice this year was not exceptional. So we'll see whether Edmonton, who lost a Game 7 in this building last June 24th, can regain home ice advantage with a win tonight in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. John Acosta's ready with our anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Nearly 20,000 people can cram into Emirates Bank Arena, and last June 24th, they saw the Panthers win their first Stanley Cup in a Game 7 classic against Edmonton by a score of 2-1. The first two games of this Stanley Cup final were decidedly classics, but for different reasons. 4-3, 5-4 type games, 3 overtimes, ebbs and flows, and 4 lead changes over the 2 games for the first time, actually the second time in 42 years. In short, it's been magnificent through 2 periods, 2 games, 9 periods, and now we've got Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. McDavid against Barkov, and we're underway with Edmonton having controlled the opening face-off. The Oilers in the white outlined in orange and blue pour into the offensive zone. Florida in the red with the blue pants and white trim, challenging up top. Bouchard a shot, and a save made by Bobrovsky. Is that puck available for just a moment? And Perry trying to dislodge, only to have it whistled down. 16 seconds into this hockey game. And again, Bob, strength on strength, very minimal margins when you look at the first 2 games. Maybe an advantage for Florida on the third line, but Edmonton's top players, McDavid and Draisaitl, have gotten out of the blocks a lot quicker than Florida's top players.
And I guess if you're an Oilers partisan, that's something that you're a little nervous about, is will there be a significant pushback from Florida's top-end players? And conversely, the Oilers need a little bit more support further down the lineup.
Face-off win for Alexander Barkov, the Florida captain, and it's chipped out through center. Ekholm and Bouchard, who did not skate as a pair yesterday in practice, but will begin tonight's game. And then a little spin move by McDavid, taken off his feet, dishes Perry a shot, and that's brushed aside by goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky. And McDavid, not quite certain there shouldn't have been a penalty called there by veteran referees Wes McCauley and Francis Chiron, working in tandem with linesmen Scott Cherry and Trent Knorr. A face-off coming to Bobrovsky's left-hand side. Sergei Bobrovsky and Stuart Skinner, your goaltending matchup.
So they're going to go third line here out against the Draisaitl line.
And that means Anton Lundell, whom Bob and I have seen replace Barkov numerous times over the years when Barkov's been banged up and out of the lineup, as Florida's frontline center. And then Marchand, of course, will remind no one of a third-line player, even at age 37. Off the draw up the right-hand side, the Panthers quickly punch it forward on net, and Marchand with a dangerous jab, and Nurse trying to ride him out of there, and Marchand gives ground. Nurse chases him all the way to the half wall just to let him know that sort of effort will not be appreciated tonight. But Brad Marchand, 7 goals, 17 points.
Great
Bob,
pickup.
I mean, he's right there with Sam Bennett in terms of the leading scorer this year for Florida in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Absolutely critical, because Reinhart clearly has been playing through an injury, as has Matthew Tkachuk.
Draisaitl digs in against Lundell, and off the draw, it's Lundell. Takes it hard behind the net, and then tried a short side pass. Came back to Lundell. Marchand shoots and scores. 1-0 Florida. 56 seconds in, the man who ended Game 2 opens the scoring in Game 3.
Well, that line again. And the wrong guy got the puck. The guy with the hottest stick going right now is Brad Marchand. And a quick one.
It's only the second time ever that 3 players had arrived in this game with 3 goals in the first 2 games. Marchand was one of them. Now he has 4 in the series.
The Oilers completely had perimeter around the net, but nobody could find the loose puck. And Marchand's got his 8th of the playoffs, Jack. Broken
Lundell,
play.
the primary assist. So 4 goals for Marchand. The other players with 3 are Draisaitl and Sam Bennett. That had not happened in the Stanley Cup Finals since 1932. And if I'm feeling courageous, I'd ask you, Bob, for a scouting report on Busher Jackson. But my guess is even you're not ready for that one.
I can't go that far back.
Marchand took extra time, Bob, to make sure Kapanen was clear, and he had a lane open before shooting that into the vacant net. Marchand from Lundell, 56 seconds in. Face-off back at center. And Sam Bennett wins the draw against Victor Arvidsson, who took it instead of Matthias Janmark. Panthers spill it in. Here's Janmark firing it from beyond center. Podkolzin's speed negates icing. Dmitry Kulikov for the Panthers. Up the right-hand side comes Sam Bennett. 2-on-2 for the Florida Panthers, moving right to left. Bennett looked for a return pass from Rodriguez, but it was broken up, and Brett Kulak will put it up the left-hand glass. Edmonton thought initially it was out of play, ruled otherwise, and now Podkolzin creates a 3-on-2. Here's Janmark to Jake Wallman. Lost the handle. And Mikkola was blasted by Janmark, but did manage to get the puck back to Nate Schmidt, who has 4 assists in the first 2 games of this series. Mikkola up to center, and he'll rifle it behind the Edmonton net, taken by Stuart Skinner. Evan Bouchard with a high flip back through the middle, and then funneled back in by Seth Jones, but Gadjevich was still lingering. 1 lineup change for Florida. They get A.J. Greer, a battle-tested banger in his 9th season, back from injury. He'll replace Jesper Boqvist, who offered speed, but Greer fits in nicely with Gadjevich on the wings with Tomáš Nosek in the middle. And now Nosek is going to be waved out of the circle, replaced by Greer, who won the face-off cleanly. And that's ripped in from center ice by Niko Mikkola. Greer and Rodriguez, both products of Boston University. Gadjevich to Greer. Tries to sneak down the wall. Henrique on him. Greer got away, shoveled it back to the point for Mikkola. Left-hand side, Greer will put it back behind the net. 2 1/4 gone by in the first period. Panthers have jumped out 1-0. Shot by Seth Jones. That sailed wide. Gadjevich unable to hammer it in short side. And Trent Frederick races over to make a clear to center ice for Edmonton. Gadjevich will shovel it in. And now Stuart Skinner out to handle it. Oilers with control. Klingberg up the right-hand side. Nifty move by McDavid. He got through Barkov again, as he did on the brilliant setup to Leon Draisaitl in Game 2. Nugent Hopkins looking to contain down low along the end boards, and finally dug out and cleared up the left-hand side. Here's Carter Verhaeghe over the line and punched on net. A save made on Forsling, who had filled the lane coming down the middle. Lead pass down center ice, handled by Bobrovsky himself for Florida, and then Ekholm was able to hold the zone. Nugent Hopkins around the boards. Perry let it go through to Bouchard, who gets it back from Ekholm, moves to the high slot and shoots into the glove of Bobrovsky, who makes the save with 3 minutes and 17 seconds having elapsed in this first period. Marchand from Lundell, 56 seconds in, and Florida 1-0 lead in Game 3.
Well, it'll be important to see how Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Kasperi Kapanen bounce back after a tough 5v5 shift where the puck ended up in the net. And a different defense pairing out with them right now.
Tricky save made by Skinner against Forsling on that
was
last
a good opportunity. This is exactly what we thought we'd see from Florida. Very similar to Game 7 last year. They had a lot of jump early.
Off the face-off, Marchand hustles it through the middle, but we got a penalty coming against Florida for a trip.
Yep.
And the Panthers were moving through the neutral zone and got nailed for tripping. And I think it's going to be Lundell going to the box.
Well, this is part of Edmonton's game that has to improve. They're just 2 for 10 on the power play. And they're only +1 in goal differential on the power play because, of course, Brad Marchand scored a shorty. And Lundell is a good penalty killer for them, so that's an important guy out of the mix.
So Edmonton gets a power play. Now, the Oilers have scored in 7 straight games with a man advantage. 2 for 10 in this series, but as Bob mentioned, a killer shorthanded goal against in Game 2. Off the faceoff, hammered by Ekblad off the glass, and Bouchard was smart there. He shouldered that out of play, but the officials are still going to say neutral zone faceoff. Bouchard tried to say, hey, that never left the zone, and now the Oilers are really frustrated with this call. Bouchard is saying, I'm standing inside the line. I'm the one who put it out of play with my left shoulder, and if I'm inside the line, how can that be ruled a neutral zone faceoff? And they're going to talk about it. And they're moving it back in. So Bouchard, in a rare situation where you win the argument. So McDavid and Perry line up in the slot. Draisaitl on the face-off dot to the right of Bobrovsky. Bouchard at the point. Nugent-Hopkins on the half wall. This is an Atco Energy power play. Atco, your trusted Alberta retailer. And Draisaitl wins it cleanly. Nugent-Hopkins back to Bouchard as the Oilers look to tie the game. Bouchard to McDavid. Centering pass broken up. McDavid gets it right back. Flips out to Evan Bouchard, and then down low for McDavid. Steered to Leon Draisaitl, off to Bouchard. McDavid loading up left circle. Nugent-Hopkins tried to give it back to him, and it was poked free and down the ice. Draisaitl and Corey Perry, the team leaders on the power play in the playoffs, with 4 goals each. Here's McDavid, left to right, gaining the line. Pulls up, right circle, knocked off his stick. Draisaitl is there with support on the half wall. Double teamed. Club back to the line by Mikkola, but held in by Bouchard. Slide step to the right and off to Draisaitl. Down low to McDavid, coming off the goal line. McDavid a shot and a save. Bobrovsky. Rebound Nugent-Hopkins curled back to Bouchard. A slapper. Redirected and a save. Bobrovsky. Rebound swatted away from Draisaitl. Kept alive by McDavid. Right point. No stick for a Florida player. That's 5 on 3.5. No stick, no stick. Here's McDavid. Jitterbugging, centering, a shot, a save, rebound Nugent-Hopkins, and that stayed out. McDavid will track it down left point. Crossing for Bouchard, top of the right circle. Curled back to Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid, top of the left circle, still 5 on 3.5. Bouchard steps in between circles, shoots, and that stayed out and climbed out of play. Huge break for Florida. Bobrovsky had no idea where that shot from Bouchard was going, but he got a deflection in front, and even better for the Panthers, it climbed over the plexi.
Well, Chris Knobloch will tell you, despite the fact that the power play is just 2 for 10, they're getting lots of chances. I mean, a point-blank look for McDavid and a great left pad save, and then Nugent-Hopkins couldn't bag the rebound.
Yeah, I think that was heading wide, although it might have ticked off Bobrovsky's glove. Now Adam Henrique out for the final 30 seconds of this Atco power play with Kane, Arvidsson, Klingberg, and Wallman. And remember, Wallman, like Bouchard, can really shoot it from the point. He's unhappy with the ice in the high slot as the puck is dropped. Snapped by Kane, cross ice, held in by Wallman. He'll work it down low to Arvidsson. Wide open. Klingberg a drive, redirected, and a save made on Henrique by Bobrovsky. Anticipated it and got it with the right pad. Klingberg snapped it back to Wallman. This second power play unit really moving it. Wallman, and now a penalty. Kane jostling with Forsling in front, and it's going to be sent off by Francis Chiron, and he is really unhappy with this call. Power play was just about over. 9 seconds of 4-on-4 coming. Let's get the call.
Edmonton, number 91, minor penalty for cross-checking.
Cross-check against Evander Kane. And Kane is not a guy. Well, that's the cross-check. They just showed it on the Jumbotron. Now, typically, he is not a guy who will spend a lot of time arguing with officials, despite the fact he's off at a target. But that was
a huge kill here for the Oilers.
That was well earned. Well, right now it's 4-on-4 for 9 seconds. And then Lundell will sprint out of the box. Henrique against Sam Bennett, 4-on-4, won the faceoff cleanly. Bouchard to Ekholm, and it's rimmed off the left-hand glass and out. Nugent Hopkins is the other member of the Oilers on the ice. Bennett will carry it back in, top of the right circle. A shot and a glove save made by Stuart Skinner against the hottest man in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the man who leads the league with 13 playoff goals. Draisaitl is second with 10. 5 1/2 gone by in this first period. The Oilers already 8 shots on net, but they trail 1-0. And Florida on the power play. This is a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill for the Oilers, 66% for the playoffs.
This is their second unit out here.
And we've seen this before, though. You've got Bennett, Marchand, and Verhaeghe on a second unit. That's a luxury that few teams can say they have. Off the draw, it's cleared by the Oilers, though. Nate Schmidt back in his own end. Nugent Hopkins and Henrique have been changed out for Janmark and Brown. Pressure up the ice. Panthers gain the line. Here's Marchand, turned it over, and it's an easy clear for Janmark. Only got it back as far as center, and Verhaeghe will slam it back in for the Florida Panthers. Left for Kulak, and the Panthers were lingering. That's an offside whistled against Florida, and a faceoff will come all the way back to the other end. Or are they going to drop it neutral?
Well, the Oilers are not happy.
Yeah, I thought they were going to call that a deliberate offside and bring it all the way back into the Florida end. For now, it looks like the face-off dot just outside the blue line.
That cost Edmonton a full clear. They had to tag back up on side.
Now they're going to drop it at center, so they decided to split the difference. And it's Barkov with Florida's top unit out there. The Panthers, in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals prior to this one, 1 for 35 on the power play. And as Bob mentioned in this series, 2 for 6. Errant pass Barkov to Reinhart, held in by Seth Jones. Played a fine game in Game 2 and scored a goal. Barkov tried to chip it back to the point. No one home. Miscommunication there. McDavid and Kapanen will change, as will Nurse and Kulak. Janmark and Brown back out there for Florida, along with Ekholm and Bouchard. Matthew Tkachuk over the line, left wing, centered, and missing a sitter was Sam Reinhart. And it's been that kind of series for Reinhart. Here's a wrist shot that was deflected wide. That was a beautiful look, and Reinhart missed an open net. Reinhart again in the slot. Gives it up for Seth Jones. Hesitates, wanders down, top of the left circle. Kicks it back for Ekblad. Jones in the corner to Ekblad. Jones, left half boards, high slot. Reinhart, one time in front by Tkachuk, and Barkov didn't get much of a shot off. Little half nudge that Stuart Skinner easily swallows up with 23 seconds left in this Napa Auto Parts penalty kill.
Should be 2-0. Edmonton's lucky. Henrique had a great chance. McDavid had a great chance on their power play for Edmonton, but
Reinhart, that's a tap in. And he has just struggled mightily in this final. Missed a breakaway.
The Oilers got to stop that seam. They've been able to crack the seam on Edmonton multiple times here.
Got a power play goal in Game 1, courtesy of a seam pass to Brad Marchand. And there it was again. Almost 7 minutes deep in this first period. 1-0 Florida off the draw. Trickles right at Skinner's feet, and he'll freeze it again. Still 21 seconds left in the cross-checking minor assessed to Evander Kane. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you on our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. High atop Amerant Bank Arena, home of the Florida Panthers and the Stanley Cup champions. Edmonton trying to unseat Florida. Off the draw. Jones to Ekblad. Snapshot save. Skinner rebound hammered down the ice by Brett Kulak, and that will do it for the Florida power play. Sam Reinhart missing a tap-in off a brilliant feed from Matthew Tkachuk. Verhaeghe will flick it into the zone. Kane comes charging out of the box. 5-on-5. Kulak a turnover. And now Bennett with a handoff from Marchand. Then tried to flip it in front for Verhaeghe. And the Oilers A little flirting with disaster action, but Draisaitl got it ahead for McDavid. Bottled up by Mikkola as he hit the Florida line. Lead pass too far for Bennett, and that's going to be icing against the Panthers with 12.5 to go in the first period. Edmonton has outshot Florida 9-5, but it's the Panthers who lead it 1-0. Brad Marchand in the game's first minute from Anton Lundell, and now Kane stays out there with McDavid and Draisaitl for a 5-on-5 shift in the Florida zone. Nurse and Klingberg paired together by Paul Coffey. Friday was the first time in the Stanley Cup playoffs that the Oilers lost when out shooting their opponent. Outshot Florida 46-42. They'd been 11-0. That was their first defeat. Here's McDavid to John Klingberg. He'll gain the line and send it off the glove of Gustav Forsling. Game one, of course, the Oilers rallied from a third-period deficit. First time that had happened under Paul Maurice in Florida. Now we've got another penalty. Did a stick get up high?
Well, Marchand snapped his head back to draw the call. He's saying he's leaking. This might be 4.
Kane again. Evander Kane, who just got out of the box. Then an offensive zone faceoff.
Edmonton, number 91, minor penalty. High sticking.
Just a 2. But when we come back, Florida already with a 1-0 lead in Game 3. We'll go to the power play for the Oilers. A crucial Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Brad Marchand has given the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers a 1-0 lead. This is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final at Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
End of the Row Flooring Centers is not only Canadian owned and operated, but we've been your
Thank you, hockey fans. Thank you, Oilers fans. Thank you, Panthers fans. Thank you, Maple Leafs fans. Thank you to you, everyone that is here right now hanging out with us, making a difference during the Stanley Cup Finals. Yes, you. Just by being here, just by clicking this video, you have made a difference, as a percentage of our revenue is directly donated to SickKids from every single game. If you would like to add to the donation and see what our total is up to now, click the link that is pinned in the chat. And every single donation, $100 or more, will get a special shout out live during the Stanley Cup Finals. Thanking you for helping our mission here on Toronto Sports Insider. Now let's get back to the hockey. Come on, Canada. Come on, Oilers. And thank you for being here, and thank you for helping us make a difference with SickKids Hospital in Toronto. God, this is so much fun. You guys rock. We'll see you back in the chat.
Holy Mackinac! Every click helps SickKids heal the future. Just by being here, you have already made an impact. Now, chat it up, keep it classy, and let's keep changing the world one insider at a time.
The Oilers Radio Network.
Evander Kane in the box once again, this time for high sticking. And the Oilers have already killed one penalty. Will have to do so again here in the first period. Third power play of the hockey game, and we're inside 8 minutes. And, of course, there were 10 power plays the other night in a double overtime classic at Rogers Place where Florida prevailed to even this series at a game apiece. The pivotal Game 3. And off the draw, Henrique will locate Bouchard on the far side. Racing over, Seth Jones holds the zone, and then a great interception by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who looks none the worse for wear as he picks off that pass in the slot and sends it the length of the ice. He'll change along with Henrique. Brown and Janmark back on for the Oilers to join Nurse and Kulak, your Napa Auto Parts foursome. Centering pass from Barkov. Kept alive by Aaron Ekblad in the high slot. Curls it over Seth Jones. Snapped it down low. Matthew Tkachuk gives it up. Barkov took his eye off it. Boy, he is struggling offensively in this series. Able to regain Seth Jones. One touch ahead for Sam Reinhart, who missed a point-blank tap-in on the last Florida power play. Here he's able to fish it off of Janmark, get it out to the high slot, and it's sent down low for Barkov. Nurse blasts him against the corner boards. An attempted clear by Janmark does not succeed, and for the moment, the Panthers will keep it alive. Tkachuk thought he was cross-checked, not called. Ekblad over to Seth Jones, and Ekblad shovels it down low for Reinhart. Now Tkachuk steps in, shoots, and a save made by Skinner. Awkward angle right circle. Ekblad on the rebound, out to the point, held in by Sam Reinhart. That was a good play at the line, but now Ekblad under duress, double teamed, and it's dug out by Kulak and cleared by Janmark. Florida power play inside 25 seconds. 10.5 to go in the first period. 1-0 Florida on a goal by Brad Marchand with an assist to Anton Lundell. Here come the Panthers. Slid ahead by Rodriguez, turned over by Brad Marchand. Here comes Connor McDavid. Kapanen joins the rush. McDavid had his pocket picked. Cleared ahead for Sam Bennett. He waits. He gains the line. Bennett dropped it off. Open man. Shot Rodriguez. And a save made. Broken stick Marchand. That might have caught Marchand's stick as he came into Stuart Skinner. And Edmonton has killed off another Florida power play. Still a 1-0 game. Put Colson flashing through the middle. And we've got a hand pass whistle. No, or we got a penalty or too many men.
I think it's too many men on Edmonton. I think they caught him here.
Too many men on Edmonton?
I think that's going to be the call.
Number 10, bench minor penalty, too many men on the ice.
Good call, partner. 9:51 to go in the first, and Florida midway through the first period about to get its third power play. Couple of unforced errors. This one, too many men against the Edmonton Oilers, and the Panthers back on the man advantage. When we return to Sunrise, Florida, it's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final in Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Fridays just got fired up. Prime rib for $20.99. Coors tankards for $9.99. And White Claw and Olay deals after 4 p.m. Only at the Canadian Brew House. Our house is your house.
All right, give me something big.
The Ford It's a Big Deal event is on.
Bigger.
Get a big truck and an even bigger deal.
Love it. Now the details.
Right now.
There we go. Chuck Baller Satoshi Lounge in the house. Welcome to Insider. Thank you, Chuck, for signing up as an insider to have those awesome emojis and keep that chat popping off. Every single member, right into our calculations. Every single game, every single piece of revenue that comes in the doors goes through SickKids Hospital. I love it. And I am so glad to have the opportunity to chat with all of you all over the world with just the audio behind us. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're glad that you're here. Come on, Oilers, let's go. No stupid penalties like this. Too many men on the ice. What the heck is going on? Hey, look, the Blue Jays are winning. And we're live right now for the Blue Jays game as well. There you go. We got one cold boy. So what'd you do with that? Whoa, bro. Really, man? Come on. This is awesome. Anyways, we got to get back to the hockey. I'm going to go check out the live over there with the Blue Jays and hang out with those fine folks from all over the world as well. Thanks for being here. Let's go, Oilers. Big kill here. Go, Oilers, going. Big shout out again. Cheers, Chuck. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Marchand, his 8th of the playoffs from Anton Lundell. Third power play of the game for Florida. Edmonton has had one as well. Barkov against Henrique, who won the draw for the Oilers, and it's drilled down the right-hand side by Evan Bouchard. This time, a too many men on the ice penalty being served by Corey Perry.
Oilers need to settle down, Jack.
Brown and Janmark out there on the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Bouchard opposite Ekholm. Shot in by Ekblad. Skinner left it in the corner. Barkov and Tkachuk pursuing. Battling Tkachuk, trying to dig it out of the skates of Connor Brown. Wrestled free by Ekholm and up the middle and past a lunging Seth Jones. Bobrovsky punches it in quickly. Jones to Tkachuk. He'll step back into the offensive zone. Kick it back for Jones. Top of the left circle. Half flubbed that pass, and Tkachuk in turn gave it away to Kulak. It's an easy clear for Kapanen, and rifled down the right-hand side, and now Ekblad will be whistled for a trip on the backside of the play, and that'll be all. And the Florida Panthers are guilty of their second tripping penalty of the game, and this one leads to a 4-on-4 situation where the Oilers, for the most part, have thrived, including Evan Bouchard's goal in the first period of Game 2.
Well, you can see what Chris Knobloch's thinking here. He's going to put out Henrique and Arvidsson and save McDavid and Draisaitl for the power play.
Whoa. Minute 7 of 4-on-4. I take it you're surprised?
That was a penalty? Yeah. 3 of the Oilers have taken, they've earned.
Wallman and Klingberg. And a face-off win, Adam Henrique. Wallman will send it down low. Arvidsson let it go through. That's going to be picked up at the corner by Carter Verhaeghe. He got double-teamed, lost the puck, and the Oilers look to maintain. This is a 4-on-4, remember. No power play. Finally gained by Sam Bennett. And he'll come off the right outboards with a feed to Dmitry Kulikov, who gains the line, worked it down low. Bennett will ride Klingberg against the boards. Center, open man, Nate Schmidt. The pass was a tough one. Bennett fought back to get the puck. And then all Schmidt could do was tuck it back into the corner. Retrieved by Klingberg and then sent across for Wallman. A dangerous play because Verhaeghe was lingering, picked it off down low, and Lundell desperately lunging toward that puck could only deflect it wide. Got it back, Forsling, a shot and a block shot by McDavid, and here come the Oilers. But McDavid's lead pass for Draisaitl was intercepted. So they go to McDavid and Draisaitl with about 15 seconds left in the 4-on-4, anticipating the power play. Lundell, in the meantime, will gain the line before being bulldozed off the puck by Draisaitl. Then he went down. No penalty was called. Perry steps out of the box, and Edmonton indeed on an Atco Energy power play. Beautiful look by McDavid. Shot Bouchard. Save Bobrovsky. Rebound. Worked up the left-hand side and out by Brad Marchand. Some kind of look from McDavid to Bouchard. McDavid 5 assists in this series and in the Stanley Cup final. 16 points in 9 games. Only Merrill Lemieux higher points per game average. Here's McDavid in the right corner. Tried to work it inside. Broken up and cleared by Seth Jones. 20 seconds left in the 5-on-4. Presented by Alberta's trusted retailer, Atco Energy. Oilers one more chance here. Klingberg up the right-hand side. Draisaitl flipped it ahead. McDavid right circle. Cut inside. Couldn't get a shot away. Knocked away from Klingberg and shoveled up the boards and out by Jones. And Ekblad sprints out of the penalty box. The teams are combined 0 for 5 on the power play in Game 3. And we've barely played 13 minutes. Darnell Nurse. Lundell pressuring up ice along with Luo Sturinen. Nurse will flash it around the boards. Mikula will shovel it down low. Lundell won a battle. Got away from Nurse, and then Klingberg. Anton Lundell in the corner. Centers deflected and then backhanded wide. A decent look for Jonah Gadjevich off balance. A.J. Greer in on the forecheck as Podkolzin takes the hit to make the play. Gustav Forsling wheels back into his own end to pick it up. Greer will shoot it around the boards after being hit by Podkolzin. And Draisaitl blasted by Bennett, who has the puck, tried to center, glanced off the side of the net. Intended target was Gadjevich, wasn't there. Draisaitl to Podkolzin, up through center, he'll shoot it in. Bobrovsky knocks it down. 6 minutes to play, opening frame. 1-0 Florida. Brad Marchand, the game's only goal. Shot in by Dmitry Kulikov. Tkachuk ridden off the puck. Won a battle with Wallman. Centering pass, one-timer to save made. Rodriguez was open in the slot. He has just 1 goal in the entirety of the Stanley Cup playoffs. He had 4 in the final. Here's a lead pass. Evander Kane got behind Forsling and a shot into the glove of Sergei Bobrovsky and out of play. Kane hit the heel of Bobrovsky's glove. Another key save by the Florida starter. And with 5:32 to go in the first period, and that puck having exited the playing surface, will take timeout. The Panthers won. Edmonton 0. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final continues in just a moment as it's Ford Dealers. NHL hockey live from Sunrise, Florida. The Oilers Radio Network.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Stanley Cup Finals. Jose and I would like to know where you are watching from in the chat. Jose, where are they watching from, buddy? You don't care. He really doesn't care, but we care. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat, and let's see where the world is gathering from. Here on Toronto Sports Insider, cheering on the Panthers or the Oilers. Hopefully the Oilers for Canada. Let's go, Canada! Let us know your city and province. I want to see all those Canadian flags just flying through the chat. As well as, if you're in the United States, let us know your city and state. All over the world, let's see your international locations. Let us know what country you're watching from. And oh yeah, check out our live viewers tab on our website to see where everyone in the world is watching from. It's also pinned in the description. We might be shooting it out in the chat as well, so keep a lookout for that one. And let's get back to the hockey. Good luck to your team, but the Oilers are bringing the cup back to Canada. Come on, boys, let's go!
Holy Mackinac! As we are passing 100,000 insiders on Toronto Sports Insider, the playoff pulse is a global force. Visit TorontoSportsInsider.com to see our live viewer map and where fans are cheering from right across the globe. While you're there, check out our awesome new website and fresh merch options. Let's keep growing this global community.
From our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, a face-off win for Henrique. A shot by Brown, trickles wide on a deflection. Rebound, pitchforked out by Tkachuk. We've got another penalty coming, and it's going to be a high stick.
They're checking to see if Brown's leaking.
Yeah, this is on Florida. And the parade to the box continues. Sam Bennett will go for Florida. Time 14:37.
Floor number 9, minor penalty, ice sticking.
2 minutes for high sticking Sam Bennett. And the Oilers, like Florida, a third power play in this first period. Boy, we've seen last couple of games, and game 2 still had a lot of rhythm and flow despite all the power plays. But yet another man advantage off the draw. Clean win for Florida, and that's whistled down the left-hand glass and out by Forsling. Bouchard back to collect for Edmonton. Back pass to Draisaitl, trailed by McDavid. Draisaitl at center will deal off to McDavid, breaks in. Lost the handle, then recovered in the corner and swept it around for Leon Draisaitl. Top of the right circle, fed Bouchard at the point. Open is Nugent-Hopkins, left side to McDavid. Net front presence is Corey Perry. McDavid elects to go Nugent-Hopkins, high slot Bouchard. No stick for a moment for Barkov. Shot McDavid, save Bobrovsky. Rebound available, and then punched to the corner by Sam Reinhart. Draisaitl back on it for Edmonton. Reinhart pressure. Draisaitl threw it back to Bouchard. McDavid in the meantime had gotten a new stick. Draisaitl sets up Perry. A brief bobble against Forsling, so he'll guide it back to McDavid, top of the right circle. Bouchard in the high slot, looks for a lane. McDavid with Draisaitl lingering. Bouchard, top of the circles. Shot, deflected. Wound up against the far corner boards. McDavid turned it inside. Barkov broke it up. McDavid won a battle. Here's Corey Perry, drag move through Forsling, who's down and out. But it was poked off Perry's stick. Recovered by Draisaitl. Bouchard, high slot. McDavid, top of the left circle. Barkov goes at him. A centering pass deflected in front. Perry digging. Still loose. McDavid first on it against Barkov. Won another battle. Here's Bouchard walking the line. 20 seconds left on the power play. Bouchard a one-timer, and that was blocked. Rebound wound up in the corner. Draisaitl snapped it back to Bouchard. Over to McDavid, left circle. Waiting, centering, and that was deflected away from Draisaitl. A lunging play by Bouchard keeps the zone. Draisaitl to McDavid to the middle, and no one home. The top unit and the penalty killing unit for Florida were out against one another for 2 full minutes. The Oilers had some looks, but the Panthers survive, and their 1-0 lead remains intact. Quarterbacking is Wallman. Missed Henrique. Icing Edmonton as Jones back to create the whistle with 3:10 to go in the first period. Shots on goal, 11-8 Edmonton. Let's look at the Edmonton power play, Bob. What have you seen on their first 3 efforts?
I think they got I realize you're playing a really good penalty. This is the best penalty killing unit in the league in the playoffs.
Correct.
They're pressuring Edmonton. You cannot pass off shot opportunities. You get a chance to put that pillow on the goal, you got to, and you got to attack the net with chaos. They haven't done that enough.
Better than 87% in the playoffs, 81% in the regular season, which was 10th in the league for Florida. Off the draw, sharp angle shot, Tkachuk. That climbed up near the mask of Stuart Skinner before the rebound cleared by Adam Henrique. Seth Jones back in his own zone. Kane will run him off the puck. Henrique is there with support. Centering pass and just missing. Arvidsson pulled into Bobrovsky, and that's going to be another penalty. Bobrovsky has drawn a goaltender interference call against Victor Arvidsson, and now Tkachuk and Kane might take one another off. Does Wes McCauley even this up? I thought I saw him make a roughing indication as well as the goaltender interference. Let's see whether it's one each side.
I think it'll be a minor to Arvidsson.
I'm not sure a power play is coming here.
I think there's going to be a power play. It's only going to be Arvidsson.
33, Edmonton's got a minor and goalie interference.
That's it. McCauley had the roughing, the fist up. But indeed, this is just a power play for Florida. Arvidsson caught a healthy chunk of Sergei Bobrovsky, and now the Panthers leading 1-0. Entering the final 3 minutes of this first period, will get a 4th power play opportunity. Napa Auto Parts penalty kill will be Henrique, who takes the face-off to the right of Skinner. Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and Ekholm. Bennett won the face-off, stepping up, a slapper, and that was deflected. Schmidt could not get it through. Rodriguez able to gain, give it up for Schmidt. Verhaeghe high slot, saucered over to Rodriguez, top of the left circle. He settles the puck and then steps in. That puck's bouncing around. Again, the ice conditions a little questionable. No surprise, mid-June in southern Florida. Here's a shot deflected, high slot. Sam Bennett will keep it alive. Off the boards to Schmidt. Snapped in front. Rodriguez to Verhaeghe. Shot, score! 2-0 Florida. Power play goal. Carter Verhaeghe.
Well, Carter Verhaeghe has been a clutch player for the Florida Panthers. And just a great pickup by this organization. And that time he beat Skinner Heidel, a blocker side. It's a great shot.
He's got 5 overtime winners in the playoffs, matching Corey Perry and Brad Marchand. But I've got to say, Evan Rodriguez in the Stanley Cup final against Edmonton has been a key player, and that was a good look.
Yeah, it was a great shot. And right now, that's the shot Edmonton's not getting on their PK, on their power play.
Marchand pointing at his head as he looked at the Edmonton bench after that power play goal was converted. Here come the Oilers off the draw. A shot by Jake Wallman and a save made by Sergei Bobrovsky. Rebound, Barkov, the Florida captain. Up the middle, Reinhart, soft chip ahead, a little out of the reach of Verhaeghe. And thus settled down by Edmonton. Nate Schmidt will collect his 5th point of the series, Bob. And an offside whistled against Edmonton as Perry and Forsling glare at one another with 1:45 to go in the first period. And it's curious, you know, in these long playoff runs, who emerges. And Nate Schmidt, Bob, has been a wild card that you and I could not have possibly anticipated as a third pairing, second power play unit guy. Nate Schmidt has been impressive.
Well, Edmonton had a pretty, in spite of the early goal against, the Oilers had a good start to this game, and then it got unraveled.
The shots were 9-4 Edmonton at one point.
Too many penalties. And then the Oilers power play hasn't done a thing.
Florida converting its fourth power play opportunity. We've had 7 in the first period. Gadjevich wires it in. And now I think each team would like to settle into some 5-on-5 rhythm and flow. A steal by McDavid Podkolzin will take a lead pass from Brett Kulak, and that's shot in deep where Bobrovsky will handle it off the left-hand glass, and it's sent ahead by A.J. Greer. Out of the reach of Gadjevich. Nurse for Edmonton locates the end mark and takes a return pass at center ice. Gains the line with a shot, and he had Bobrovsky going the other way but missed the net. Rebound Podkolzin. Frederick finishing his check. Nurse has wandered down low. Threw it off the backside of the net. Taken by Podkolzin. Brushed off his stick. Kulikov battling for control. And eventually gained one more time by Nate Schmidt and dropped off to Greer. Line change for Edmonton. Henrique and Brown flood the offensive zone. Marchand looked to back out of the zone, got it out, and then Evander Kane walked it back in offside with 42 seconds remaining. Darnell Nurse's parents, Brian and Kathy. Connor McDavid's parents, Brian, I said Richard and Kathy. I was thinking Brian and Kelly, both making their way around the suffocating South Florida heat this afternoon on their way to the game. Bouchard will pound it in. Number of parents coming down. Obviously, Stanley Cup final. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Here's a draw won by Edmonton. A stick exploding on Matthias Ekholm, and the Panthers able to clear through the neutral zone. Ekholm gets a new stick. Bouchard up to Connor Brown. Final 20 seconds. Ekholm will step up against Seth Jones and drive it in deep. Clean sheet thus far for Sergei Bobrovsky. 2-0 Florida. Seth Jones an attempted clear. Brown bottled up by Marchand. Here's Luo Sturinen breaking out with 6 seconds. He'll be sure to get it in deep, forcing Stuart Skinner to handle this puck. A hard rim up the glass from the point. A snapshot and a save made by Skinner at the horn. And a little crowding by Lundell, and now Ekholm wants a piece of him. But Tkachuk. Edmonton's got to be careful
Kane's
here.
Trying to go after Tkachuk here.
Kane going after Matthew Tkachuk. Mikkola in the mix. Evander Kane still trying to get at Matthew Tkachuk and mocking him a bit. 2-0 Florida. And really at this stage, the Panthers probably don't want to get involved in this. The Oilers frustrated, and now Connor Brown, of all people, giving Nico Mikkola the business. He's really unhappy with Mikkola. And ultimately, the players pried apart. And I'm not sure McCauley and Schron are going to talk about it. I didn't see any penalties signaled as of yet. We'll sort it out. Now these two teams still at center ice. It was Perry and Gadjevich yelling at one another. Frederick immediately enters the fray, and now the referees will confer with the respective captains.
We might have something here in the second period. Like I can
Markov.
Yeah. Anyways, the bottom line here is Florida had a great period, and Edmonton did not. Florida got the early jump. Who else? Brad Marchand.
Well, you didn't mind the Oilers 5-on-5. The problem was there was no 5-on-5 play.
Right. Yep. And the Oilers' power play right now isn't going, and it needs to get going for them to have a chance.
Perry finally leaves the ice as these two teams have, over the course of the last 2 years, built up a healthy dislike for one another. And we talked about it coming in. In 9 periods of play, Bob, they'd been separated by more than 1 goal for all of 77 seconds. Well, this is easily the first time a club has had a 2-goal lead after the first period.
Edmonton missed their opportunities in both games to build on leads, Jack. You know, like 3-2, they had the lead, and they got a 5-on-3 late in the second period, or late in the first period, didn't score, and then the 2 chances for Bouchard early in the second. Tonight, Edmonton's power play it's just been a bad matchup against Florida. Dating back to last year's Stanley Cup final, it was not good enough. I know it got better as the series wore on. And again, that
was it, 3 for 24?
It's not good enough.
Right.
Like it's
not when you're counting on your power play to be at least between 23 and 27%.
It was 0 for 1 in Game 7. You can make an argument they didn't get enough opportunities. If they score a power play in Game 7, we're playing an overtime game. Edmonton's got to play a lot better. That was Florida's period. The Oilers seem agitated. Florida's running around a bit. Kachuk's turtling as usual. We assume he's playing injured. He's not going to fight Kane. Kane's going to go after him, try to get him to go.
Kane negated Kachuk in the 22 second-round series against Calgary. Took him right out of it.
Well, that's what he does.
But Matthew Kachuk's a different player now than he was in 2022. And he's got a lot more support.
This is a way better team.
Thank you.
And so,
he's also got a more physical team behind him.
And they got the Oilers. Well, they had a big team. I mean, all right. Anyways, the bottom line is Edmonton. I mean, you think about it. They did have Gabranson and Zadorov in one pairing for the Calgary Flames, but they didn't have the same support up forward. Edmonton has to play much better. Forget about all that other stuff. Unless you just decide, look, we're going to settle this right here, right now. Get rid of all this BS early in the second period, get it over with, and then go play. Maybe that's what we need to do. But that was Florida's period. And to me, the Oilers just got to settle down. Can't play. I'm serious about this. They just got to settle down and go play. But I'm not convinced that's going to happen. They seem a little agitated. So we'll see what ends up happening here in period number 2, Jack. But the power play's got to simplify. And part of the problem is they're losing draws and they're not getting shots. They got to shoot the puck more.
But we'll see how many power plays either club gets for the rest of the game. We had 7 combined in the first 20 minutes. Florida 4, Edmonton 3. The Panthers convert on the 4th and final power play they had in that first period. And in a series where 8 first periods goals were scored in the first 2 games, the most since 1936. Florida gets 2 more tonight, but Edmonton unable to answer. And thus, the Oilers, despite out-shooting the Panthers 12-10, find themselves on the short end of a 2-0 deficit through 20 minutes of Game 3 with a best-of-7 Stanley Cup final tied at a game apiece. Straight ahead, we've got Bryn Griffiths and Rob Brown. This is live coverage of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup final in Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Hockey season is back.
What's up, hockey fans? How we doing? All right, Oilers fans, what is going on here? This is not a good start. This is not the start that we want to see here at all. But it is what it is. It's time for the comeback to start, right? So it's all good. Let's get it fired up for the second period, everybody. Please take a look at the chat that is pinned. Help us raise money for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. We have an awesome video coming out very soon. Hopefully we'll be ready in time for Game 4. Samara, I can't wait to sit down with you on Wednesday and chat it up, talking about SickKids Hospital and the difference that we're making through our campaigns here in the over $12,000 that we've raised together. Yes, you. Yeah, you haven't hit that subscribe button yet? What are you waiting for? Get on it, hit that subscribe button, and join the best community in the world, cheering on all of our Toronto sports teams every single time they're live, as well as the playoff coverage, so that we continue to raise money. We did $12,000 this year in our first year. We're going for way more than that in our second year. We were able to go from 5,000 subscribers up to 100,000 subscribers plus 106,281 at this exact moment in time. Cheers to that. Cheers to SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Cheers to their groundbreaking research and the amazing work that they do for children all over the world with their peer programs. We're going to talk about that as well with Samara and SickKids Hospital, hopefully for Game 4. You'll see the once we get back to the next commercial break, we'll run the awesome video that we have saying thank you from SickKids. They made that for us, ladies and gentlemen, for Toronto Sports Insider and the insider community. Cheers. Let's get back to the hockey. Come on, let's cheer on our Oilers strong. We need to get back in this for Canada. Let's go, Oilers. Go, Oilers, go. Go, Insiders, go. Go, you go. We'll see you back in the chat.
And at the end of the period, the Oilers weren't able to capitalize on their power plays, and the Florida Panthers did. So as the period went on, I thought Florida got stronger, and I agree with Jack and Bob. I felt the Oilers got frustrated, and got a little disorganized in their own zone. Probably fortunate to come out just down 2, but I do believe the Oilers start the second period on a power play. Is weirdly they only called 1 penalty at the end of that first period to Lundell.
Yeah.
And the Oilers have an opportunity to cut into that lead to start the second period.
Oilers power play through the opening 20 minutes, 0 for 3, and Florida went 1 for 4. It wasn't exactly a clinic by either team, but at least the PK was looking pretty sharp and kind of kept them in it. But as you pointed out to me during one of the breaks in that period, the Oilers are playing with fire here. They've got to get going here.
Well, they do. And again, 1 for 4, that's 75%. Still not great penalty killing, but it's better than what the Oilers have had in this playoff so far. It was weird. I don't understand the Florida Panthers' first power play unit. They go with 2 defensemen, Ekblad and Jones.
Right.
Ekblad, neither are, standout offensive defensemen. And you see Ekblad down low a lot. And I don't understand that. They came out on their final power play with their second unit, which is much more effective. And we saw that as Nate Schmidt continues his fantastic Stanley Cup finals with his 5th assist. And what a shot by Verhaeghe. I know that Craig Simpson called it a goal scorer's goal, and it was. There was nowhere to put it but where he did, just under the crossbar. And the Florida Panthers were able to extend the lead. And we talk about in games, one team is going to be better in long stretches, and that was the Florida Panthers period. And they were rewarded. They got the second goal, so they extended the lead. They're up by 2. Now the Oilers have to push back. And if it is right where they say they do get a power play to start the second, that's where it has to start. Set the tone. Because right now the Florida Panthers are incredibly physical. If they're going to continue to take penalties and not have to pay for it by Oilers not scoring, they'll continue to be physical. You can back off their physicality by scoring on your power plays. So with fresh ice and a rested group, the Oilers have a good chance to cut into the lead.
After everything we saw at the end of that period, it was Anton Lundell picking up a 2-minute minor for roughing at the 20-minute mark. So Oilers will have the man advantage to begin the second period. And how important is that? They've got to get back on track a little bit here because they seem like they're coming off the rails.
Well, yeah, no. You say that it's really, really important, and then if they don't score, you think, okay, the game's over. It's not. It would certainly help start the momentum going your way if you score on the power play early. And now it's just 2-1. You're back within a shot. I think they just got to gain some confidence on their power play.
Right.
Florida, ultra aggressive, and the Oilers have had their looks. And anytime there has been a breakdown, and there have been a few, Bobrovsky's been outstanding. When a goalie's playing well, more pucks on net. And get Bobrovsky thinking. The other way, when you're putting pucks on net, you need players in front of his eyes. Bobrovsky most times will stop the puck if he sees it. You have a better chance if he doesn't. So Perry's done a good job getting in front, but maybe have a second. Nugent Hopkins is down there too. If Bouchard's shooting, crash the net and hope for tip, rebound, anything. As right now Bobrovsky is on his game, and the Oilers power play needs to start being a bigger factor here in the finals.
You might be having a good night as a netminder when shots are hitting you and you don't even know it. There were a couple of Bouchard shots that just got a piece of it. I'm not convinced he saw either one.
Well, he didn't. He didn't see them all. So, but that's just good positioning and good luck. Bobrovsky is a fantastic goalie. He reads the plays, but sometimes you got to be lucky to be good. And I think that Bobrovsky was a few times in that period, but they always got to continue to throw pucks on net. Evan Bouchard, they are for some reason allowing him open ice.
Yeah.
And Bouchard needs to continue to take advantage of it and continue to put pucks on net. So if you give Bouchard that many open looks, they're going to find the back of the net eventually. So look for the Oilers to be looking for Bouchard on this power play.
Do you have any problem with the mayhem at the end of the period there? Team is just trying to, flex a little bit?
Well, Lundell drilled Bouchard in the face.
Yes, he did.
So there was going to be a response from the Oilers. And then Kane saw an opportunity to get at Tkachuk because the other referees were
busy,
occupied. So Tkachuk, a fantastic hockey player. But he did his best on that last 30 seconds there to find a linesman to stand beside when Evander Kane was chasing him.
Yeah.
Tkachuk does not want to tangle with Evander Kane.
Rob, thanks. We'll talk to you coming up in intermission number 2. We're going to take a break at the intermission. It's brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Blue-collar work deserves big dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with heavy metal equipment and rentals.
To every child and family who've needed us since 1875, and all who support us, our hospital needs no introduction. But just in case, it's SickKids. And it's our 150th birthday. Our mission has always been healthier children, a better world. The first children's hospital in Canada, SickKids. Pasteurizing milk to prevent disease 30 years before it was mandatory. The heart-lung machine that transformed open heart surgery. A pediatric kidney transplant in 1969. SickKids. SickKids. And SickKids. We discovered the gene for cystic fibrosis so patients live longer lives. And we just created the world's first Atlas of Cancer, using machine learning to analyze 13,000 variations. Today, the hospital sees over 130,000 patients a year. We're a research powerhouse, a training magnet, attracting nearly 600 clinical and research fellows from around the globe every year. And we're the #1 publicly funded children's hospital in the world. We're celebrating 150 years of excellence, driven by philanthropy. What's next? Thanks to donors like you, we're going to keep healing Canada and the world, and we're going to heal the future.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being... Thank you.
Tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
When the Oilers are on the ice, the big hits are a part of the game. But they shouldn't be a part of your drive. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown & Associates and their over 200 years of combined injury law experience help you. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown & Associates is ready to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Proudly headquartered in oil country, Capital Power is delivering reliable and affordable power today while building clean power systems for tomorrow, creating the balanced energy solutions communities across Alberta and North America can depend on. Visit capitalpower.com to learn how they are powering change by changing power. Be part of their energy and join Capital Power as we all cheer on our Edmonton Oilers on their quest to win it all.
At Fountain Tire, we're all about one thing, taking care of your vehicle. Oh, and your wallet. I guess that's 2 things. Save up to 20% off select tires until June 14th. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Back at Rogers Place at the watch party after 20 minutes of play in Florida. The Panthers with a 2-0 lead on the Edmonton Oilers, although the Oilers did outshoot Florida in that period, 12-10. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Taking a look at baseball tonight, the Blue Jays opening up a 3-game series. They're in St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. They are currently going into the 7th inning, the top of the 7th inning, and it is Toronto with a 2-0 lead on the Cardinals in that matchup. That's your out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. The second period is coming up next, so get ready for this one. Will it be as rough as the first period? Oilers will start with the power play, that's for sure. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the Intermission has been brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
End of the Roll Flooring Centers is not only Canadian owned and operated, but we've been your go-to flooring center since 1986. The reason is simple. We make your flooring project easier. Rather than a tiny sample, upload a photo of your room at endoftheroll.com and instantly see what your dream flooring looks like in your house. Thousands of styles just clicks away. End of the Roll Flooring Centers. We've been flooring Canadians for 4 decades. Visit endoftheroll.com.
12870 St. Albert Trail and now open at 580 Parsons Road Southwest.
Experience the exciting casino action at 3 Century Casino locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Dine at one of their amazing restaurants featuring daily specials. Take in the ultimate game day experience at the all-new Selly Sports Bar and Lounge. Check out the best in live entertainment at any amazing location. Plus, enjoy a great selection of casino gaming options and off-track betting. Feel the thrill of live horse racing at Century Mile Racetrack. Don't miss a second of the action at Century Casino.
MIC is a leader in medical imaging and the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers. Make MIC your choice. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, the game doesn't stop for injury. MIC's sports medicine imaging specialists can help you get back in the game with a timely and expert diagnosis. Go where the pros go. For a location near you, visit mic.ca.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers 50-50, of course, back for the Stanley Cup playoffs. The early bird prizing remains outstanding. It's just pure, cold, hard cash tonight. $5,000 and $10,000. You got to love that. And your playoff jackpot for the Oilers 50-50.
Holy cow.
Loading. Apparently we're on dial-up here in Florida, but
here we go.
Bottom line is it's an Edmonton power play. Jackpot currently $1.5 million, and the playoff bonus jackpot is almost $9 million. Now, Anton Lundell got a roughing minor at the end of that first period, so this is the 4th Edmonton power play of the hockey game, and it starts with Draisaitl winning a face-off back to Jake Wallman. So Wallman is on the ice with Bouchard as they've switched up. No Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Perry, and Draisaitl, and a 2D look on the power play. So a different look and a turnover by the Florida Panthers, Tomas Nosek. Wallman fires a pass to Bouchard. He'll get it back. We saw these two on the ice when the Oilers needed a late game-tying goal on Friday. Wallman, drag move against Forsling. Deals. One-timer ripped by Bouchard. Save made. And Ekblad able to clear through the middle past the outstretched Evan Bouchard. So Glenn Gulletson making a personnel adjustment and going with 2 D-men on the power play. McDavid brings it into the offensive zone. Draisaitl, high slot. Wallman fumbled it away. Rifled down the ice by Ekblad. And that'll come off the corner boards and drops at Skinner's feet. He'll direct a pass to Bouchard under pressure in his own end. Down to a minute left in this Atco Energy power play. Opening minute gone by, second period. Florida 2, Edmonton nothing. Nugent Hopkins back on the ice. Dishes off to Corey Perry, left wing. Crosses, and that's deflected. Grabbed by Bouchard, now joined by Ekholm up top. Perry has come off, and Nugent Hopkins takes a pass from Ekholm deep in the left circle. Returns to Ekholm. Skates to the high slot, switches positions with Bouchard. Right circle, Draisaitl. We've got no Connor McDavid on the power play unit. Shot by Bouchard, ripped home by Corey Perry, and the Oilers get a power play goal without Connor McDavid on the ice. It's Perry who scores on the man advantage, and the Oilers whittle the deficit to 2-1. Corey Perry with his 9th of the playoffs and 5th on the power play.
My apologies, Jack. I was trying to look for Connor out there, McDavid. And Perry,
pounced on a loose puck. Bouchard shot it. And Perry outfoxed Seth Jones for puck possession and scores at 1:40. So the Oilers gifted a power play late able to take advantage without Connor McDavid on the ice. And the ageless Corey Perry with the 63rd goal of his Stanley Cup playoff career. And that matches Brad Marchand. Both have 63 goals. Here's Rodriguez, tripped up by Darnell Nurse into the offensive zone for the Florida Panthers. He'll swing it back to Kulikov. So 2-1 our score. Corey Perry, power play goal for Edmonton. Kulikov shovels it down low. You've got Bennett dishing off. Shot from distance by Schmidt, ends up wide. Here's Tkachuk. Tried to slide it to the corner. Centering pass, Schmidt mashes it toward the net, and Skinner knocked off balance. Tkachuk was ruled to have been pushed into him, and the outlet pass completed to Darnell Nurse, who sounds a two-bouncer just wide of Sergei Bobrovsky. Rebound, battled for, and ultimately controlled by Sam Bennett. Up the left-hand side, and quickly Greer put it into the Oiler bench. 2 minutes and 39 seconds having elapsed in period 2, and the Oilers have cut the deficit to 2-1. A power play goal for Corey Perry at age 40, continuing.
A little bit of rough stuff
the back
after
of the net. Yeah, some token pushing and shoving. Won't have any penalties. And
Frederick going after Bennett.
I'll tell you what, though. Florida's propensity for taking penalties has kept Edmonton afloat in this game.
Well, I mean, the Oilers weren't exactly the most disciplined team themselves in the first period.
But now both teams are 1 for 4 on the power play.
And McDavid is back on the ice here in between Kane. And I think that's Kapanen on the far side.
Face-off win for Barkov. It is indeed Kapanen, Kane, McDavid's wingers. And a high toss through the middle. McDavid, of course, didn't play the back half of that power play. Perry did.
I think it was a skate.
And so did Nugent Hopkins. Here's Klingberg up the right-hand side. Well, obviously no injury as Klingberg dropped by Barkov. Chance for Reinhart, and he scores. And Sam Reinhart needed that desperately. Put it upstairs on Stuart Skinner, and Florida regains a 2-goal lead. That's Reinhart's first of the series and 5th of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, the Oilers needed a stop there from Stuart Skinner. Just a quick turnover and shot right through the legs of Jake Wallman. That was going to be a tough pickup, and unfortunately Skinner couldn't track it. But John Klingberg got walled on the play. Got taken to the ice. And a quick little interior pass, and it's in the net.
Sam Reinhart's first goal since Game 7 of the Toronto series. Remember, he was injured on a questionable hit by Sebastian Aho in the Eastern Conference Final against Carolina. Off the draw, a quick shot, and we suspect he's not at full strength. The Oilers look to answer on the 5-on-5 shift following the goal. A blast by Ekholm, left wing, set up by Draisaitl, missed the net. Lundell looking for Marchand, will send it off the right corner board, sifted into the corner by goaltender Stuart Skinner. Here's Ekholm. Devin Bouchard, and a reset for Edmonton. Oilers coming right to left in period 2. They're in the white, Florida in the red. Draisaitl hits the line. Lost the handle, then regained on his backhand. Puck forced up the boards. Kulak will try to hold the zone. Edmonton's got a tag back onside as it did escape the zone. So the Florida Panthers take advantage of the Oiler turnover in their own end, and Reinhart puts one upstairs on Stuart Skinner. Verhaeghe will get the primary assist on the scoring play. Nugent Hopkins staggers his way into the offensive zone. Corey Perry dishing off, looking for McDavid as that top line reunited now, with the play having settled down and back into a 5-on-5 rhythm. Here's Aaron Ekblad up through center. He'll shoot it in. 4.5 minutes into the second period. The teams have swapped goals, and Florida retains a 2-goal lead. Led 2-0 after one. Perry, a power play goal to bring the Oilers within 2-1, and an immediate response by Sam Reinhart a minute 20 after the Perry goal went in. Wallman quarterbacking for the Oilers. Behind the Edmonton net, he'll drop it off for Connor Brown. Swiftly down the left wing, he'll attack Mikkola. Brown gets through Mikkola. Knocked off his stick. A.J. Greer pursuing up top. Bouchard, a shot, does not make its way through. And Gadjevich with a clear safely back to the red line. Darnell Nurse, a strike right-hand side. And Brown will put it back into the Florida zone. Henrique, a powerful hit on Mikkola. And now Gadjevich comes over to help out his defenseman, who eventually tosses it over to Nate Schmidt. Ample time to clear, and he does. Shoveling ahead for A.J. Greer, stood up by Bouchard at the Edmonton line. Darnell Nurse on the puck for the Oilers, and he'll flip it behind off a stanchion. A backhander to save made by Stuart Skinner. Rebound Trent Frederick. Florida almost got a friendly bounce off the stanchion and into the slot, but Skinner able to make the save. Wristed down deep by Seth Jones. Carter Verhaeghe gives way to Barkov. Puts the brakes on against Matthias Janmark. He'll send it down low for Verhaeghe, who just assisted on the Reinhart goal, and now set up Reinhart trying to go backdoor to Barkov. That was broken up, and then Kulikov shot wide from the top of the left circle. Verhaeghe a shot right circle and a save made by Skinner. Rebound down to one knee, Sam Reinhart. Regain the puck for Seth Jones. A wrist shot towed aside by Skinner. Rebound Reinhart. He'll keep it down low for Verhaeghe, and all of a sudden Florida has Edmonton in a bit of a spin cycle, but that's broken up by Darnell Nurse and wristed down low by Kapanen. On net, Bobrovsky guides it to the corner. Reinhart from Forsling, who took a punishing hit. Verhaeghe tried a shot off the rush that was swallowed up by Klingberg, and Florida will peel off on a line change as Victor Arvidsson with a burst of speed up the middle to Podkolzin. He was stymied by Aaron Ekblad, who now grapples with puck possession with Victor Arvidsson. Tripped up, Draisaitl nudged it free, but there was Eetu Luostarinen, who's been added as the secondary assist on the game's opening goal, registered by Brad Marchand in the game's first minute. Here's Klingberg up the gut looking for Draisaitl. That was deflected. Play is offside. Retrieved by Luostarinen and dumped back in by Brad Marchand. He'll pursue against Skinner, who sends it over to Klingberg. Lead pass Draisaitl. Here come the Oilers right to left. Cutting and a big hit on Podkolzin. He was absolutely drilled. Draisaitl on the half wall at Sam Bennett. Couldn't get it out. Kept in by Podkolzin, who then turned it over. 2-on-0. And now a breakaway. In on net. Wrist shot score. Sam Bennett. 4-1 Florida. Bennett, his 14th of the playoffs and his 4th in this Stanley Cup final. That was going to be a 2-on-0, and Luostarinen just popped it ahead for Bennett, who broke in, deep backhand, and went upstairs on the forehand and over Stuart Skinner.
Well, unfortunately, Vasily Podkolzin didn't make the simple play. And now the Oilers, who survived a couple tough shifts before that, they're in a world of hurt chasing right now.
7:26 time of the goal, and Florida has extended to a 4-1 lead. Aaron Ekblad, a high flip off the center ice draw, grabbed by Evan Bouchard. Had it and lost it. Panthers power their way into puck possession. Bouchard snatched it right back, tried to go up the gut. Here's Perry. Up the right-hand side, Connor McDavid. He'll dash in and get popped by Aaron Ekblad. Forsling with an attempted clear. Verhaeghe there to help him out. And now Lundell, they're going to give him center ice generously. Swings it in deep. Retrieved by Ekholm. Lead pass, Corey Perry. Back to McDavid. Perry has the only Edmonton goal. The return pass to him was off the mark. Gadjevich will bring it up through center and shoot it in for the Florida Panthers.
The Oilers need a momentum change.
Well, they've got McDavid out there against Florida's fourth line. Lead pass, Brown has been moved up now with Perry and McDavid. Again, we'll see that throughout tonight with Nugent Hopkins a little banged up. Gadjevich, impressive. A forecheck and a wrist to right upstairs, but missed high glove A.J. Greer. Cleared by the Oilers, fired back in from center by Gadjevich. Skinner put it on Jake Wallman. He'll take it behind the net as we approach the midway point of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida 4, Edmonton 1. Oilers got a power play goal early to climb within 2-1, but the Panthers have answered with 2, and now a puck cleared into the bench area with 11:03 remaining in the second period. The teams have split 30 shots on net, but Florida has 4 goals. Edmonton just 1. And we come back with more live coverage of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final in just a moment. The Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers playoff ticket giveaways are on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Plus $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light during every game. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Businesses deserve the best protection against cyber threats. Alltech offers state-of-the-art IT and cybersecurity solutions to safeguard digital assets. The team of experts at Alltech are dedicated to providing the highest level of security, ensuring that data remains safe and operations are seamless. With Alltech, businesses can focus on growth while the rest is handled. From advanced threat detection to comprehensive data security, Alltech has it covered. Choose Alltech for reliable and effective cybersecurity. Visit alt-tech.ca now to learn more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling Jingle auditions take 1 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling. Patio season is on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Grab your crew, sip something cold, and hang out on the best patio in town. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett with second period goals to counteract a Corey Perry power play goal set up by Bouchard and Ekholm. Bouchard with his 22nd point of the series. Tied for third with Mikko Rantanen, who of course won't play any more games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, behind only Draisaitl and McDavid, who are on the ice together with Corey Perry. And at this point, with 31 minutes to go, Bob, there's no reason to expect McDavid and Draisaitl aren't going to be playing together 5-on-5 for the remainder of the game.
You have an extra day off in between the two games, Game 3 and Game 4.
Well, you're also down 3.
Yep.
You need to go to this option and hope to get back into it. Draisaitl just got away with a cross-check on Gustav Forsling. Pitchforked out of the zone by Sasha Barkov. Wristed down deep by Bouchard. I mean, that's as obvious a penalty as you can expect to get.
In the first period, that's a penalty.
Ekblad up the middle and then tossed in, and then a big hit by Corey Perry as he finishes Sam Reinhart. So the Oilers trying to ratchet up the physical play. In the meantime, McDavid jitterbugging his way in. He got belted by Ekblad. Here come the Panthers. Forsling tosses it off, gets it back off the pads of Stuart Skinner as Luostarinen tried to set up Forsling. Snapped back in by Seth Jones. And funneled down low for Marchand by Anton Lundell. Brad Marchand run off the puck. Corey Perry picks it up and in one motion fires a pass to Nugent-Hopkins. Over the line with Leon Draisaitl still out there. Draisaitl takes a pass. One-timer Klingberg redirected wide of Sergei Bobrovsky. Here's Seth Jones under duress up the right-hand side. Marchand did not get it out. Connor Brown to the middle, and that was paddled out of there by Anton Lundell. He looked like a center snapping a football between the wickets as he threw that puck out of the zone. And as it's flipped in by Evander Kane, Bobrovsky, knowing Florida's down a stick, will just stick that one in his hip pocket. With 9:44 to go in the second period, the Oilers have to settle for an offensive zone draw. They trail 4-1 in this hockey game. Florida 2 in the first, 2 in the second. As I mentioned early, Corey Perry with McDavid's the only goal, and McDavid's going off again and again. It's equipment related because I think I saw Jeff Lang in front of him.
Yeah.
So an equipment situation for McDavid for the second time in this game. We'll take a break. Our live coverage of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on the Oilers Radio Network continuing in just a moment with the Florida Panthers leading Game 3 4-1 over Edmonton with 9:44 to play in period 2. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. You know, Alberta's a special place. From the Rockies to the Plains, it's a land of hard work and big dreams. If you're going to tackle it all, you need a truck that can keep up. That's why I can't say enough about my Ford F-150. It's more than a truck. It's a partner. Rugged toughness, serious capability, and smart features that make your life easier, like available Pro Power onboard. The Ford F-150. Get yours today at your Alberta Ford dealer and tell them PB sent you.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more. Get ready to live sky high. Sky Signature Suites offers remarkable units for rent featuring sophisticated floor plans, designer finishes, and breathtaking views. Experience resort-like amenities including a full-time concierge, yoga and fitness studios, golf simulator, plus indoor and outdoor lounges for you to live your best life. Visit SkySignatureSuites.com and make your home high above the ordinary.
Adam Henrique lines up for a face-off against Tomas Nosek to the right of Bobrovsky and won it cleanly. Darnell Nurse walks the line, shoots, and a blocker save. Big rebound by Bobrovsky as he paddled that out near the blue. Henrique in front, and Trent Frederick nearly able to slide that 5-hole on Bobrovsky. A steal by Kapanen, and this line looking sharp for Edmonton. A wrap around the boards, late getting there Klingberg, but he does hold the zone. And now Frederick to Henrique, a centering pass, trickles in, a shot, and a save. Bobrovsky, the rebound available, and Bobrovsky able to freeze it. An excellent shift, however. Henrique, Frederick, and Kapanen. 9:16 to play, second period. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. And our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, Sergei Bobrovsky with that puck pinned against his left ribs as he made the save, coming out to challenge the attacking Darnell Nurse. I'm marking that one down. I liked that line of Henrique, Frederick, and Kapanen. Something to keep in mind as this game progresses.
David's back out
with Kane and Draisaitl as Chris Knobloch looks for an offensive zone face-off here that he can capitalize on. McDavid twice tonight has dealt with an equipment issue. Once on a power play where the Oilers ultimately scored on it. And then as we sent you to the last break, McDavid went down the tunnel again with head equipment manager Jeff Lang. Draisaitl to take the face-off against Barkov. Left side of Bobrovsky, and it comes free. Carter Verhaeghe. A lot of people speculating that maybe the Ekblad hit had something to do with McDavid's departure. But when Jeff Lang leaves, you know it's equipment related. Here's Sam Reinhart. Gets it back from Verhaeghe. Takes it behind the net. Reinhart got off the schneid in this series earlier. A backhand wraparound, a save made. Rebound Barkov. And that was blocked. And now Draisaitl takes control off a feed from Jake Wallman. He'll look for a lead pass. McDavid. Forsling is back. McDavid poked off his stick. Good play by Gustav Forsling. And a clear by Sam Reinhart. Inside the line, Wallman fires a pass to Draisaitl, tried to put it between the wickets of Lundell. Kane, a strong forecheck, created a turnover by Ekblad. McDavid to Draisaitl. Knocked off his stick for a moment by Reinhart. Swept around the boards. Ekholm steps up, a blast, and a glove save made by Bobrovsky. And now more rough stuff from Kane. He gets into the grill of Gustav Forsling. 8:21 to go in the second period. Florida's lead remains 4-1.
Yep. I agree. Got to dig in. This game being played. I mean, Florida's been the better team, even though the Oilers are out shooting them marginally. The goals are 3-0. It even strengthened this game, Jack.
Verhaeghe and Perry power play goals. Marchand, Reinhart, and Bennett on the board 5-on-5, which, of course, has been Edmonton's strength, especially on the road. They came in their last 7 road playoff games having given up just 7 goals 5-on-5. Well, they've given up 3 tonight. Bouchard, a wrist shot. That flew wide of Bobrovsky. Rebound careened off the boards. Here's Ekholm. He'll pound it back down low. Matthias Janmark lost the handle. Rodriguez wanders over to play it. Fierce battle ensues. Podkolzin. Darvinson. He got checked by Jones. Kept alive at the point by Bouchard. Stroked it over to Ekholm. And now Mikkola trying to disrupt the cycle to Matthew Tkachuk. Took a pop from Ekholm and went down. Able to regain, floated around to Rodriguez, turned it over. Here's a dish to Ekholm, down low for Matthias Janmark. Another good shift by Edmonton, 2 in a row here. Bouchard hesitates, gives it up for Kane. Backhands it into the corner. Jones took it away from Janmark. And he'll drive his way down the left-hand side and from center ice make certain of a clear behind the Edmonton net. Skinner to Bouchard, Ekholm onto Evander Kane at the red line. He'll gain the zone with Nugent-Hopkins. Brown to Nugent-Hopkins, a shot kicked aside by Bobrovsky. But Edmonton's starting to come alive here. 3 consecutive shifts. Florida's been on its heels. Nurse unable to hold the zone. Spin move by Marchand, but Nurse read what he was trying to do and forced it free. Luostarinen ultimately was able to wedge it back into the Edmonton zone. It's a reset for John Klingberg. 6:50 to play, period 2. Klingberg didn't know what to do with the puck and released up the right-hand side. No icing, but also no real threat there. Ekblad put it through the middle, came off the boards. Skinner came way out to knock it away from the on-rushing Tomas Nosek, who scored 1 goal all season long. Oilers get it in deep. Henrique. Eve, Frederick, and Kapanen had a good shift last time, but here's an angled pass up the left-hand side for Greer. Well played by Brett Kulak, who came over to cut him off, flung it back to the point, knocked out by Mikkola. His shot blocked by Wallman. Rebound, Adam Henrique. And a soft flip through the middle will be settled ultimately by Jones. Mikkola backhands it off the boards. Nosek. He got popped by Wallman. Jones took the pass, went up the middle, and then misfired on a play intended for A.J. Greer, who was peeling off on a line change. So Wallman will take possession for the Oilers as we go inside. 6 minutes to play in period 2. Panthers 4, Oilers 1. Lead pass too far for Draisaitl. That's icing against Edmonton. Just out of the reach of Leon Draisaitl. Shots on goal, 21-17 Edmonton, but it's a 3-goal lead for the Florida Panthers.
Well, Bob's come up with a couple pretty big saves here, and unfortunately for the Oilers, right after the Perry power play goal, that was a turning point. They're back in the game at 2-1 and a turnover in their zone, and they beat Skinner high.
Important goal to get Sam Reinhart going from a Florida perspective, and then Bennett, who's been going the entirety of the playoffs, another goal to make it 4-1. Shot off the draw by Forsling on net, saves Skinner, rebound played out to Ekblad by Reinhart. Now Barkov from behind the net. Try to interior pass to Verhaeghe. That slithered through untouched and was cleared by McDavid. A big hit up high. Ekblad really popped Corey Perry. I mean, that hit was up high, and I'm sure Perry took a number. Verhaeghe will dump it behind the Oiler defense. Ekholm comes over to gather. Barkov to Verhaeghe. Tried to give it back to him. That was broken up. Good work by McDavid defensively. Forsling sends it down low to Verhaeghe. Tracked by McDavid. Verhaeghe behind the net, falling down awkwardly was Brad Marchand. Jab free for Corey Perry, not out of the zone, held in by Seth Jones. Wired around the boards, picked up by Luostarinen. Tried to feed Lundell, that was broken up, and here comes Perry. He'll gain center and shoot it into the Florida zone. Bobrovsky will knock it down for Niko Mikkola. 4.5 to play. Arvidsson, a good read, a steal, but then he missed on a pass intended for Janmark, and it was tossed the other way by Lundell. Here come the Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk rips one on net. Save made by goaltender Stuart Skinner, and Luostarinen was boxed out of the rebound by Podkolzin, who ambles his way to center and gets it in deep. Arvidsson, a centering pass off the stick of Bobrovsky, and the rebound grabbed by Seth Jones, cleared by Rodriguez of the Panthers, and Klingberg back to center to collect for Edmonton. Shoots it back in. Matthew Tkachuk picks it up for the Panthers. Kulikov, one touched on to Evan Rodriguez. Lead pass. Bennett breaking through down the seam. Shoots, and that ended up wide. Skinner might have gotten a piece, but boy, Sam Bennett continues to find open space. He is feeling it, and with his contract up, he is going to make himself a lot of money when this is all said and done. Oilers get it in deep. Panthers on it. Nate Schmidt out to Gadjevich, and he'll hammer it in deep. That's going to be picked up in the corner by Brett Kulak. A big hit around the boards. You've got Ekblad, a quick shot, and that was deflected away. Racing over and sending it up the gut was Kulak. Oilers work their way into the offensive zone. Kane finishes his check. Digging after it is Connor Brown. Kept it alive. Centering pass. Scooped up and cleared by Nate Schmidt. Smart play. Gadjevich put too much on it, though. This is an icing call, and Jonah Gadjevich just needed one more stride there. An unforced error, and now Edmonton has an opportunity. They've got the fourth line for the Panthers stuck out there, so they're going to go right back to McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry, and Gadjevich just an ill-advised play.
Good save by Stuart Skinner. Rip job. Blocker side from Matthew Tkachuk as Florida got a little bit of a push here.
Maybe a high stick that was uncalled as Klingberg thought he was clipped right in the jaw.
Well, there's been a lot uncalled here in the second. Put their whistles away after calling everything in the first period.
Nosek won the faceoff against Draisaitl. Ekblad is able to toss it back to center. And that was smacked down by Ekholm.
Perry got a nasty run in on Ekblad.
Here's McDavid. Corey Perry, big hit. Nate Schmidt. How about the Draisaitl cross-check earlier in this period on
There's
Aaron
another cross-check.
And we have a hand pass called at center and a face-off in the neutral zone when we return. 2:51 to play, second period. Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Home of the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers, who lead this game 4-1. It's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final right here. The Oilers Radio Network.
Bloom Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage. You want to go? Counseling services. Let's go. Dental coverage. That was not offside. And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Ready to score big on your outdoor space? It's game time with Park Landscaping. Transform your backyard into a winning arena with Park Landscaping's expert team. From design to maintenance of lush lawns and state-of-the-art synthetic turf to inviting pools and captivating water features, Park Landscaping will make your outdoor space the MVP. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with Park Landscaping. Call 780-486-2744 today or email info@parklandscaping.ca.
All games, all seasons.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
4-1 hockey game, 2:51 to go, second period. A face-off coming at center ice. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. Florida took a 2-0 lead after one on an even strength goal by Brad Marchand and a power play tally from Carter Verhaeghe. Corey Perry got the Oilers on the board 100 seconds into period two. with McDavid off the ice due to an equipment issue, but Florida bounced right back, scoring a minute 20 after that Perry power play goal to make it 3-1. Sam Reinhart's first of the series, and that was followed up by Sam Bennett, who stays hot with his 4th goal of the series and 14th of the playoffs. 4-1 Panthers. A steal by Nico Mikkola on a pass off the draw intended for Kasperi Kapanen, and then Bouchard got it across just enough for Ekholm to clear back through center. Frederick a reload for Edmonton. Ekholm up the left-hand side, intended for Henrique, picked off by Seth Jones, tapped down by Ekholm, and then he'll smack it down deep. This could be icing against the Oilers, and it is. With 2:11 to play in the second period, Florida 4 goals on 19 shots tonight. Edmonton 1 on 21 against Bobrovsky. And again, worth mentioning the split, Bob. His home road in the Stanley Cup Final, 93% save percentage at home, 85% on the road, and that's coming off 2 pretty strong outings in games 1 of 2 of this series up at Rogers Place.
Well, this team can score. They're 9-3 on the road, so that save percentage and number tells you something, doesn't it, Jack?
Bouchard threw it length of the ice. It came off the boards. Bobrovsky wanted to move it, but held on too long, and now Kasperi Kapanen, who's certainly an agitator. He's another guy, Kapanen and Podkolzin, guys that you don't necessarily think of as overly chippy, but they are not well liked by the opposition, and that's a good thing.
Well, Kasperi can get in on the forecheck with his speed.
And so can Podkolzin.
And when he's struggled a bit and had his minutes cut, he's been pushed and he gets more physical.
So now, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane, Bouchard and Wallman paired together here. With 2 minutes to go in the second period. This time 5-on-5. Wallman a shot off the draw and a save made by Bobrovsky. Rebound McDavid. To the right flank and Bouchard. McDavid back to Bouchard down the seam. Pulls it to his forehand and couldn't get one off. Checked by Verhaeghe. And now McDavid. Shadowed by Forsling. Behind the net is Draisaitl. Bouchard in the meantime, a drive that's held by a lunging Bobrovsky with Kane and Ekblad going at it yet again in front of the Florida net. A lot of healing tactics here from both sides. Minute 38 to go in the second period, and the linesmen at times, Bob, have to feel like a referee when there's a lot of clutch and grab, just constantly breaking the fighters up. And while no meaningful blows exchanged, certainly these two teams getting after one another tonight in Game 3.
I don't know why they reacted so aggressively on Kane there.
Out of habit, 4-1, Florida. 1:38 to play in the second period. Look, Florida fans on the Jumbotron celebrating my partner, Bob Stauffer.
I don't think I'm the Bob they're thinking of.
Bare-chested, red and white checked, homage.
Well, right now he's locked in, very comfortable.
Off the draw, McDavid able to keep it alive up top left point. Now to Kane on the half wall. Round the boards for Verhaeghe. Snatched it away from a pinching Bouchard. Forsling at the last minute. One touched it over to Ekblad, and a high floater is sent back towards center. Ekblad, of course, suspended for inadvertently using a banned substance down the stretch. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and all he knows is Florida having played 11 seasons.
They'll get him and Bennett re-signed.
Mikkola up the left-hand side. Chip up the wing. Smacked up the boards. Luostarinen able to pin it there in the corner. Horse collared by McDavid. Wallman trying to pry it loose. You got 5 players scrum in the far corner. Nurse, maybe a cross-check. Nurse, a couple of jabs, and then another shot. There's definitely a cross-check coming on Darnell Nurse. I don't know whether there's anything else. Florida Panthers got it in deep.
25 Edmonton, line cross-check.
And a frustrated Darnell Nurse to the box. And then Wallman came over with a pop on Sam Reinhart, who was also on the receiving end of the cross-check. So now leading 4-1. The The Panthers get one here, Bob, and I'm not sure we're going to see Stuart Skinner for the third period.
Come in and they get one here.
See what happens. Nurse in the box, one of Edmonton's top penalty killers. So as a result, your Napa Auto Parts penalty kill looks like Kulak and Ekholm out there with Nugent Hopkins and Adam Henrique. Florida trying to put game 3 away with a power play goal. 44.7 on the clock. Bennett will take the draw against Adam Henrique. The Panthers lead by 3 goals. Henrique wins the faceoff. Ekholm trapped in the corner. Edmonton looking to get a kill and build some momentum for early in the third. Henrique took it away and eventually just dropped one deep in the Florida zone. Bobrovsky will knock it down for Nate Schmidt. Final 25 seconds, period 2. 4-1 Panthers. Schmidt shoots it off the end boards, reaching for it, Kulak, and it was banged off the side of the net by Bennett. Taken away by Connor Brown, and he got it through Nate Schmidt at the point. So just 12 seconds remain, and Florida's got to hurry here. Down to 8 seconds. Schmidt goes up the left-hand side, broken up by Janmark. Kulak will watch as the skate ends up in the corner. Kulak put it there, and a late shot by Rodriguez flies high and wide at the horn. And the Florida Panthers will have a minute 16 and a fresh sheet of ice on the power play, as well as a 4-1 lead when we begin the third period in roughly 18 minutes time. And Bob, it obviously starts with a kill, and then you've got to work your way back somehow. This is not an easy club to come from behind against. The Oilers became the first team in the Paul Maurice era to win a Stanley Cup playoff game against Florida when trailing after 2 periods. They were down 1 goal in game 1. They're down 3 here. How would you suggest they chip away?
All I'm going to say is just win the period. Go from there. See if you can build some momentum on the third period. You've been outplayed here. I know the shots are 24-19. I don't trust the shots in this game. Let's just establish that. To me, the scoring chances are probably even, but their guys made a couple great saves. The Oilers were not disciplined early in this game. That's part of who they were, and it's tough. You come here on the road, and they're an emotional, physical team that play on the edge, and it's like they know exactly how far they can go. And if people really dug in as to why that's the case, they would not be surprised. But they're a team that is built a certain way, and they're a tough out. And the Oilers knew that coming in.
The Oilers are a tough out, too. They've proven that over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes, and the Oilers are a team going into tonight's game that are 10-13 under Chris Knobloch in the first 3 games of a series. They're 18-2 in the final 4 games 4 through 7. Unfortunately, one of those losses was here in Game 7. A lot of work here for the Oilers to do in the third period, but Jack, to me, you can't score 3 goals at a time. Get the kill to start the period. Get back to your 5-on-5 game and just see if you can win the period and build on that.
It was 2-0 Florida after 1. Corey Perry got a power play goal to start the second, but then the quick response by Florida, and that was key because it came a minute 20 after the Perry goal had quieted the crowd and put the Oilers firmly back in this game. Sam Reinhart off a turnover set up by Verhaeghe. A minute 20 after that Perry goal, 3-1 Florida, and that was followed 4.5 minutes later by Sam Bennett beating Stuart Skinner off a breakaway. And that brings us to our current 4-1 margin. The Panthers will have a power play to start the third period. Alongside Bob Stauffer, it's Jack Michaels from Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida 4, Edmonton 1. We head to the third, and now we head to break. And on the other side, you'll hear from Bryn and Rob. This is our live coverage brought to you by Ford Dealers, NHL Hockey. And it's only the Oilers Radio Network.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Stay connected with your community and enjoy the latest.
Stay connected with your community. That's right, our community here on Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you for being here during the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 3. Whew. This is not going how we want, Canada. This is not going how we want. But, man, Paula, big shout out there to Paula in the chat. I wanted to catch that one. That's why I switched it over there. Where'd it go there? That was a rough period. What the heck? Oilers, get it together. You need to bounce back. You could do this. Regroup, talk, circle these guys, win your face-offs, get back to the basics. One goal will turn this around. Down by 2? All right. New game. Anyways, let's get it back to the live chat minus, the business. There's Jim. What's up, Jim? Good to see you. Greasy as well. Good to see you, Greasy. Cheers to all of you in the chat. CG, keep it classy, bro. Keep it classy. Lisa, thank you. Lisa Wrench in the house. The mods are rocking this evening. Cheers to all of you. Let's take it back to the intermission. Let's get after it in the third period. Come on, Oilers fans. Share this link out to your friends. Let's get more fans here in the chat. Because every one of you that's watching right now, all 4,000... Well, excuse me, we dropped under with the intermission. 3,789 of you that are hanging out with us, watching here on Toronto Sports Insider. Share this link out. Right now, let's get more hockey fans here in the chat to raise money for SickKids, because you've made a difference just by being here. All of you, just by being here. Now 3,915. Oh, what is this? Wiggle. Man, from the south side of Chicago. You on the south side? Man, what part? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Let's see where you're from the south side. There's a lot of different parts of the south side, my friend, because I know Chicago very, very well. But every single view is calculated as we donate a percentage of our revenue every single month, which has totaled over $12,000 in the last year. The best part about that is our last year is just 1 year of donations. We started with the Leafs 100% of our revenue for the Leafs playoffs games in the last season was donated already to SickKids. And now this time we did it again, and we plan on doing it again in the future. Honestly, we can't wait to expand what we're doing with SickKids. Now let's get back to the hockey. I love it. Go Insiders, go. Cheers.
Herculean effort by the Oilers, who don't quit and have proven that all the way through this entire playoff run, but down 4-1 here. So what do you do with the netminder? Do you give him a rest?
Oh, I leave
because
Skinner
you got to
in.
split. I mean, the goal here is to split. So it's not the end of the world if you lose this one, right?
No, but there's no thought in their dressing room of losing this hockey game.
No.
And so this is, you're not thinking split, you're thinking third period, win a game. You want to score the next goal. You have the kill, and then you score the next goal, it's 4-2. We've seen what the Oilers are capable of doing 6-on-5 when they pull their goalie. I don't think there's a better team in the National Hockey, and there hasn't been forever. So if they get down to the last 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes in the game, and they're within 2, you pull your goalie early. And maybe you score a goal, and then you pull your goalie again. So to me, the entire thought process is in the dressing room right now is get a kill to start the period,
right,
and then score the next goal. The game ain't over. This is the Edmonton Oilers. They've got Connor and Leon now. It has not looked good through 40 minutes, but this is a team that's capable of scoring 3 goals in a period. Now, the one thing they can't give up is another goal against.
Right.
They can score 4 in 60 minutes. I'm not sure they're going to score 5. So Stuart Skinner needs to shut the door. The penalty killing unit has to get a big kill to start the period, and then it's simple. Score the next goal after that.
I think you summed it up pretty well here when you said that right now it looks like the Oilers are trying to out-Florida the Florida Panthers. I think that's probably the best summation I can think of, because it just seems that way tonight. I just don't feel like the Oilers have played Oiler kind of hockey, but that's just my take.
I think they've looked frustrated.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid. I've been doing these Oilers games for 10 years now. Or excuse me, for 19, but all 10 years of Connor McDavid's career here.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever seen him hit an open ice before. The Ekblad hit. I have not seen that. Every check is being finished, and when the Oilers do get their opportunity, and they've had a few. Bobrovsky has been fantastic. So I think there's just some frustration coming out. And when you're frustrated, you take penalties. And that's one thing.
I have to interrupt the intermission here for letting you know that our Blue Jays have tied it up in the top of the 9th inning. Yeah! Let's go, Blue Jays! All right, we're rolling. We're playing good baseball right now. It's the top of the 9th inning. That's why I put the score up there. Head on over and put the link in the chat to head on over to our Blue Jays stream and cheer on our Toronto Blue Jays. Come on, let's go! Let's get the win here. I love it. It's intermission. Come on over to the baseball game. Let's go! I'll fix that score in a minute. Hold on. I'll put the link out, then I'll fix the score. Let's go.
3 straight years in the finals. He's got a Stanley Cup win. I know that the Oilers are doing their best to get into the blue paint. After every whistle, you'll see at least 3 Oilers in there pushing Florida Panthers towards Bobrovsky, hoping to bump him, to cause a little bit of disruption in Bobrovsky's game. And you'll see Bobrovsky try to escape and just skate into the corner. But, get in the blue paint. Bobrovsky is as good a goalie, if not the best goalie in the National Hockey League. Make it a little harder on him to play the position. And if you do that, whether that pays dividends today or in Game 4 or throughout the series, it has been, if he sees it, Bobrovsky's going to save it. And the Oilers have allowed him to see too many shots.
It's one thing to get out of your own end, but when you get through the neutral zone and it's so suffocating right now by Florida, what do the Oilers have to do to get that defense core of Florida to turn around a little bit?
Well, part of the problem is they're having a hard time getting out of their own zone.
Right.
So when they do get it into the neutral zone, it's usually one player who's skating by himself. And he's throwing the puck in, but he's being picked by the close side defenseman, and the offside defenseman for the Panthers is going to get the puck by himself. The best thing about a forecheck, a really aggressive forecheck, is it forces the team that's coming out to, A, when they finally get out of the zone, they just want to dump it in and change. Mm-hmm. Or B, when they finally get it out of the zone, they don't have numbers. They're usually outnumbered in the neutral zone, so there's really nothing you can do.
Right.
So the Oilers, to be better in the neutral zone, they have to be better in their own zone, having cleaner breakouts. And thus far in this game, the Oilers have not had very many clean breakouts.
Got you, Rob. Thanks. We'll talk to you at the conclusion of the third period. We'll take a break. It's 4-1 Florida, leading the Oilers after 40 minutes of play. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Four Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey folks, Paul Brandt here. Around these parts, we work hard, play hard, and we demand the best. Sometimes you need a truck that's a cut above. The Ford Super Duty, tough enough for...
There you go. You see the links in the chat. I love it. There it is, right there. Carmen has the link pinned to our SickKids page where you can donate directly to SickKids Hospital right now in our Playoff Pulse campaign, as well as the link there to the Blue Jays live stream. Go hang out with our diehard faithful Blue Jays fans from all over the world. Say hi, click that link, hit the like button, do all the awesome YouTube business that you do all the time here where we hang out every single game live. Oh, what happened there? That wasn't a good sound. Anyways, there you go. Cheers, Carmen. I love it. Carmen, you're a rock star. Appreciate it for your help there. Still 4-4. We're heading now to the bottom of the ninth. The Jays couldn't get a run across in the top of the ninth. Let's get back to the intermission. Have you hit the like button yet? Have you hit the subscribe button yet? Let's change the score back to the hockey game because that's the stream that we're on right now. End of the second period. Panthers on the power play to start the third. It's time to go, Oilers fans. It's time to go, Canada. Are you ready? Let's go. Paula, thank you. I also logged into that game. Much appreciated, Paula. Thank you. That's what we do here. We bring Toronto sports fans together all over the world. We appreciate it. Go Jays, go. Go Leafs, go. Go Oilers, go. Good luck to the Panthers fans out there. Y'all are rocking tonight. And there's our buddy Matt. Stop interrupting the chat. Dude, I'll do what I want. It's It's my channel. Cheers, buddy. Have a good night. I mean, you can listen to the news right now. We're talking about gas and pipelines and all that stuff. If you want to listen to the news, then listen to the radio for the news. Okay? We're listening to the radio for the hockey game to hang out and have some fun here in the chat and cheer on our Oilers while we're making a difference at SickKids Hospital right there in Toronto. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. We the North. Let's go back to the intermission. Well, commercial. For all of you happy people in there that want to listen to commercials too. Let's go.
Stay. End of the Roll Flooring Centers is not only Canadian owned and operated, but we've been your go-to flooring center since 1986. The reason is simple. We make your flooring project easier. Rather than a tiny sample, upload a photo of your room at endoftheroll.com and instantly see what your dream flooring looks like in your house. Thousands of styles just clicks away. End of the Roll.
Hey, cheers. There, I appreciate the kind words in the chat. Cheers there, Sasquatch. And Canadian citizen, host of the stream is the best. Thank you. I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a regular dad of 4 with a dream. Started a YouTube channel. Saw the success of faceless YouTube channels. Boom, let's go. Plaque time. Toronto Sports Insider. For 100,000 subscribers / insiders. I call subscribers insiders because every single one of you has made a difference along this ride. Let's go. There's Lorne Vaught in the chat with the super chat, and I can't even heart it over there. Won't even let me. There it is. Let's go, Oilers. Thank you, Lorne, for the super chat. Let's go. Come on, Oilers. Back to the commercials for everybody who'd rather listen to the commercials. We the North. We the North. Come on, Oilers. Let's go, Oilers. Let's go, Oilers. Muhammad, big love from Germany. Big love from Chicago for all of the displaced sports fans. Love it. Nightwolf, cheers, Mike. Nightwolf, cheers, brother. Love it. Thank you, Lauren, and let's get after it. Go, Oilers, go. Big third period ahead. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on.
Nothing lead. They scored 2 in the 7th and 8th innings, and they had a rather comfortable lead. But the Cardinals scored 4 times in the bottom of the 8th inning to tie it up at 4. They are now going to the bottom of the 9th inning. That one is a bit of a nail-biter for the Toronto Blue Jays today, but that is the beginning of a 3-game series in St. Louis starting up tonight. As we mentioned, the Oilers going to the third period, trailing 4-1 against the Florida Panthers. What do they got in the tank? Can they come back? Can they tie this thing up? We'll see. The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. The third period is on the way. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the intermission has been brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Hey, Edmonton. Big move.
Thank you, Mary. I know that I'm muted. There's Chuck with the TSI logos. I love it. I still got to update to the new logo now that we hit 100,000. There's Lauren again. Let's go, Oilers. Come on, chat. We got to get that hearted right there on the screen. You better believe it. We're having fun here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna bounce in here with a moment. There's that clock that YouTube sent me with the every time a super chat comes in, every time 1,000 people jump in, and then it went under because of the intermission. That's what that bad sound was about earlier. Anyways, Chuck, man, thank you for joining as an insider. We have a lot of love in the chat tonight. Fan funding up in here. I love it. Roma Army with a huge super chat that got us started. There, where is this show on? Yeah, I love it. Canadians here. Go Oilers, go from Calgary. Thank you, Rosa Army, for hanging out with us tonight as well. Not sure. Let's help SickKids. I challenge you, big mouth. So all these big mouths in the chat that are like, oh, come on, man, stop interrupting the stream. Let's all help SickKids together. The link is pinned in the chat. You see our difference that's been made already. Let's get after it. Let's get after it. Welcome to the club, Morgan, Chuck, Pat and Sherry, Ashley Carroll, Barry Clark, Valerie LaBelle. I think that might be Pierre. maybe his wife. We'll see. Let's get back to the hockey. Go! Oilers, go!
Florida, 4-1 lead as we begin the third period.
Let's go. Oh, Mike is not muted. See, and that's what happens when the mic's not muted.
The Oilers will be shorthanded for the first minute 16 of this final 20 minutes. And they're down 3.
Big shout out to Kelly Nodwell in the chat as well. Come on, Oilers, you could do it. Let's go.
Their shorthanded unit presented by Napa Auto Parts. Stuart Skinner remains on the pipes and a face-off win for Sasha Barkov. Florida can pretty much seal it with a power play goal here. The Panthers have been close to lights out when leading entering the final 20 minutes. Oilers again ended a 30-game winning streak for Florida in the Stanley Cup playoffs with that come-from-behind win in Game 1. But that was only one goal. Panthers are doing nothing with this power play. The Oilers do a nice job of working it, eventually to Ekholm for a length of the ice clear. Ekblad back to Seth Jones, and with 40 seconds on the man advantage, here come the Panthers. They're in the red, moving right to left. The dangerous McDavid and Kapanen, a lot of speed on this particular penalty-killing unit, Kulak and Bouchard. Wristed down deep by Barkov. Turned over by Reinhardt and clubbed down the ice by Kapanen. McDavid with some token pressure, just something for Bobrovsky to think about. He curls it back to Seth Jones. And one last rush in the offing for the Panthers. Nico Mikkola through the neutral zone. He'll chip it to the far corner, track it down himself. Brad Marchand had his stick lifted by Bouchard, who in turn saw Luo Sturinen power into a crevice. Behind the net, Lundell threw it, but Kapanen first to get on the puck and eventually shoots it to the open side back towards center, and that's going to do it for the Florida power play. Hammered back in by Mikkola. Oilers penalty kill have done a reasonable job tonight. Florida's 1 for 5. Oiler power play 1 for 4. But 5-on-5, Florida has a 3-0 advantage. And now the Panthers are whistled for an offside.
Well, Edmonton has been very composed, Jack, over the last month. And that disappeared in the first period a bit. And I'm not quite sure why. But the bottom line here is I think Edmonton's a team that plays best with
when the penalties are down.
Yep. Just go play.
Face-off win for Rodriguez. So in other words, even though it's not like Edmonton was short-handed more often than Florida, it still favored the Panthers.
And Panthers are a good team, and you know that.
Here's Evander Kane, a shot from the left wing. That was deflected away from Bobrovsky. Arvidsson hovering close by the rebound. Got it back to Klingberg. Good pressure here from Edmonton, 5-on-5. Draisaitl crowded by Rodriguez. Got the elbow up, taken off the boards. And Sam Bennett will clear for Nate Schmidt from center. He'll backhand it in deep. Skinner will knock it down. Skinner puts it up the glass, and that will be delay of game.
No, you don't need that to happen.
That did not catch the window on its way out, and as a result, the Oilers will be shorthanded for a 6th time tonight. 2 minutes for delay of game, whistled against Stuart Skinner.
Well,
penalty is served by Evander Kane, and Florida will get yet another opportunity to maybe put this one away with a 4-1 lead and on a 6th power play. Oilers' only goal tonight, Corey Perry on the power play. It marks the 8th consecutive game the Oilers have scored on the power play in this postseason. But now it's the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill that will try to keep Edmonton's hopes afloat. Henry, Nugent Hopkins, Wallman,
and this second unit's been really good for them.
Sam Bennett's going to be chased out of the circle, replaced by Carter Verhaeghe. Marchand, Rodriguez, and Schmidt round out the second unit for Florida. And off the draw, it's Bennett. Scored his league-leading 14th earlier tonight. Shoots off the post, and he missed the 15th by a whisker.
Wow. Right now, Florida wins the cup. He's winning the Conn Smythe.
Sam Bennett, left-hand side, and he'd be the first Conn Smythe winner to hit free agency in half a century. Wow. Schmidt throws it toward the net, and that's going to be snared by Stuart Skinner. He'll freeze it with 17:20 to play in regulation and a minute 39 in the delay of game call assessed against Stuart Skinner. Bennett ripped that over the left shoulder, glanced off the goalpost. That's the only reason why Florida isn't up 5-1. Bennett, face-off win against Henrique. Verhaeghe across. Schmidt loads and fires, and a save made by Stuart Skinner, with the Panthers once again able to generate some traffic in front of the Oiler net in the form of Brad Marchand, who narrowly missed getting a piece of that puck. Tried to deflect it home. Henrique, this time against Evan Rodriguez. Face-off win for Rodriguez. Bennett across to Verhaeghe. Top of the left circle, Schmidt. Back to Bennett, right circle. Back to Verhaeghe, a one-timer that was blocked. Rebound, Verhaeghe, stopped by Skinner. But that's two seam passes in a row that Bennett has gotten to Verhaeghe, and that's what Edmonton must cut off. One-timer ripped by Rodriguez on a setup from Nate Schmidt. Here's Bennett firing, and that glanced off Skinner and flew out of play. Even the play where there was no shot, right before that, Bob, I was going to say, you got to get that, you got to get a stick on that seam pass. And then the second one was an excellent scoring chance, and Verhaeghe shot it right off the logo. Carter Verhaeghe, 33 Stanley Cup playoff goals to his credit.
Well, Allman gave a little shot there to Marchand. It's right now the Panthers are up in the game. They're in the driver's seat here, and they're clearly, the Oilers are agitated and frustrated.
Ekblad drops it off. Jones, Barkov on the goal line, checked by Nurse, coming over to help out. Matthew Tkachuk takes the pass inside. Reinhart, one-timer score. Ekblad, 5-1 Florida. Play goal, Aaron Ekblad. And the Panthers have taken total command of Game 3 of this Stanley Cup Final.
It's a nice goal.
Ekblad's fourth of the playoffs. And Reinhart, who got off the schneid in the second period with a goal, made a beautiful no-look pass, and Ekblad made no mistake. Stuart Skinner, helpless. Matthew Tkachuk will get his second point of the series, and that is going to be it. Stuart Skinner's gone. And this is a mercy pull. This is not related to Skinner's performance. He turns aside 18 of 23, and Calvin Pickard, for the first time since Game 2 of the Vegas series, which he won in overtime, returns to the net. He's 6-0 in this postseason with a save percentage of .888. It's his 11th career Stanley Cup playoff appearance. Kane lines up against Anton Lundell and wins the face-off. Tap back by Brown to Klingberg. Brown looking to guide one ahead for Kane. Broken up by Luostarinen. He'll hit the line right to left. Luostarinen, a shot kicked aside by Pickard. Rebound Kane, put it up the left-hand boards. Mikkola dashes over against Connor Brown. Jones did not get it out. Brown back on top of the puck for Edmonton. Still swinging around the boards. Klingberg had a shot blocked. Luostarinen at center ice. Carves it free, looking for Marchand. Ekholm attempted to clear, did not get it through. A second time, he'll put it up the left-hand side. And now Leon Draisaitl makes a move around Luostarinen. Dropped it off for Brown. Through the middle. Picked up by Kane. Not much on that backhand offering. And cleared ahead. Klingberg kept it in. Brown breaks in. Backhander and a save made by Bobrovsky. Panthers were cheating the zone a bit, and Brown broke in on a partial breakaway, and Bobrovsky stoned him. Panthers get it in deep. Forsling a shot from distance. That wobbled into the corner on a deflection. Nate Schmidt threw it around the boards for Sam Reinhart. What a feed he made to Ekblad to set up the second power play goal of the game for the Florida Panthers, and the fourth of Ekblad's postseason. Bouchard Up the right-hand side, Arvidsson overran the play. Forsling knocked him down, and the Panthers send one skipping across the Oiler blue line. Wollman around to Bouchard. We've got a collision on the far side as a penalty call. Greer got popped. And this one seems on the verge of exploding. There was a collision involving Janmark and Greer. 5 minutes having been played in this third period. And Janmark's trudging to the penalty box. Here's the call. It's a roughing call on Janmark. And Bob, obviously the frustration continues to mount.
Yeah.
So Calvin Pickard on for Stuart Skinner will be tested by a Florida power play that's 2 for 6 tonight and 4 for 12 in the series. And this was after in the previous 2 Stanley Cup finals against Vegas in 23 and Edmonton last year, Florida went a combined 1 for 35. Off the draw, cleared by the Oilers down the right-hand side. This one would seem academic.
Yes, but I think if you're an Oilers partisan, you're thinking you needed to win the special teams battle. Florida has won that in the series so far.
Schmidt sends it in deep. For me, 5-on-5, what needs to be figured out is the Lundell, Marchand, Luostarina line. That continues to be high prosperity for Florida. The Oilers brought it the other way. Short-handed Nugent Hopkins and Nurse are offside. But, Bob, this is not a problem unique to Edmonton. But it's one the Oilers, in my opinion, have to at least saw that off. Because right now, Florida's third line...
They're killing them. Well, and they're sawing off the top 2 lines. And again, that's where you lose one guy of Hyman's caliber. He's your third best forward. It's a 50-goal scorer. And you got to have other guys step up. And you think about what's happened tonight. But Colson turns the puck over on the 4-1 goal. And the guy who's been pretty sure-handed and played a north-south game, and he got blown up by a big hit. Oilers got knocked on their ass from the get-go tonight, Jack, and they never were able to pick themselves up over the map. Early goal, and it just kind of unraveled from there. And this is as undisciplined and as frustrated as we've seen Edmonton since Game 2 of the LA series.
Still a Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Barkov breaking through the neutral zone, pulls up top of the right circle. Hits Sam Reinhart left circle. Back to Barkov. They'd like to get Barkov going offensively. He'll go down low to Tkachuk. Tried to hit Ekblad. That pass was tipped by Wollman, who's out there with Podkolzin, Ekholm, and Kapanen. Jones in front. Reinhart booted it on net off the pads of Skinner. Kick back to Ekblad. Barkov loads and fires in front, and that was deflected. Intended for Matthew Tkachuk, who was looking to one-touch that home. Ekblad overpowered by Podkolzin, who manages to clear to center. Taken over by Barkov. Florida on the power play for another half minute. Walking in is Jones. Matthew Tkachuk. Lundell couldn't get it cleanly on his stick. Back to Reinhart. Fired across to Seth Jones. Shadowed on the right half boards by Ekholm. Shot Schmidt. Save Pickard. Rebound picked up. It's Barkov. Deep left corner. Put it behind the net. Tkachuk. Ushered on to Reinhart. Podkolzin forced a turnover. Good play by Podkolzin. And Ekholm a length of the ice clear. That'll do it for the Florida power play. The Panthers are 2 for 7, but now the clock is inside 13 minutes. And Edmonton's deficit is 4. 5-1 as Schmidt shoots it on net with the Oilers back at full strength. Pickard on to Brett Kulak up the right-hand side. Again, Skinner gone after giving up 5 goals on 23 shots. Marchand, that's offside as Lundell in the zone prematurely with 12:38 left in regulation. Florida 5, Edmonton 1. We continue with our live coverage in just 90 seconds. This is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on the Oilers Radio Network.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavor.
All of them
Oh yeah, Blue Jays. Let's go, Blue Jays. Let's play ball. Man, the Blue Jays get it done. They get a comeback victory in the 10th inning. Yes, our Jays were up all night, 3-0, and then boom, I go to pick up the kids, and then no way, 3-1, 4-3 Twins. What the heck's going on? Boom, our Blue Jays get the win tonight in extra innings. I love it. Thank you for joining us here or over in the Blue Jays game. Darn it, I didn't even start. The Blue Jays get it done and get the victory. Okay, I was just recording that in the Stanley Cup hangout. So we have about 4,000 people hanging out with us there in the third period of the Stanley Cup Finals. Make sure to get on over to our hockey stream and go Jays go for getting the victory. Let's go Blue Jays. Let's play ball. Big video incoming from the Dome. Let's go Blue Jays. Let's go. Anyways, back to the hockey. Thank you for being here. Keep it classy in the chat. Cheers, everybody. And oh yeah, big shout out before we get back to the hockey because it's coming quick. But the email just came through and I have to shout out this name, Marilyn S. Thank you for your donation to SickKids Hospital. You earned a shout out with that donation. Thank you so much, Marilyn S., for clicking that link that's pinned in the chat and donating to our Playoff Pulse campaign. Let's keep raising money for SickKids Hospital. Let's keep making a difference, Toronto sports fans. Go Leafs, go Oilers, go. Come on, boys. Go hockey, go. Come on, score a damn goal, Oilers. Come on.
Nights, and after dropping the opener in Dallas, won 4 straight against the Stars. Skinner started the first 2 games of this series, which were split, both overtime games. Edmonton winning 4-3. And then Florida countering with a 5-4 decision in double overtime. First time since 1951. Both games. What do we have here? Offside or another penalty?
Should be a hook against Florida here.
Yeah. The Oilers were coming up ice left to right.
Sana.
And it is Brad Marchand with 12:08 to go.
63, minor penalty. Hooking.
Perry scored the game-tying goal, latest game-tying goal in the history of the Stanley Cup Final. And 1951 was the prior record. But now in Game 3, Florida's taking control. Chris Knobloch not conceding anything with 12 minutes to go. Top power play unit out, of course. But again, here's Wallman instead of Nugent-Hopkins to start. Wallman and Bouchard at the points. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry. Draisaitl to take the face off to Bobrovsky's right. Atco power play tonight, 1 for 4. Off the draw, Luostarinen. The length of the ice clear. Pickard will leave it.
Florida's pressure game tonight has been too much for Edmonton to deal with.
Wallman with a drop-off for Connor McDavid left to right. Hits the Florida line using a pick on Luostarinen, who then forced a pass to Draisaitl right point. Little give and go. Draisaitl on his backhand had it stripped by Mikkola. Those two tangle along the end boards. McDavid reaching, and then he got belted as he pushed the puck back to Bouchard in the high slot. Walking the line, Evan Bouchard now on to Connor McDavid. Oilers' only goal came on the power play. McDavid dishes Wallman a shot, and that was blocked. Going down, Nosek to get in the lane, and a clear by Mikkola. Nosek completely sold out there and got the block. Nugent-Hopkins and Kane have come on. In fact, the entire second unit halfway through this power play has come on for the Edmonton Oilers. Henrique and Kane off a dump in. Forechecking. Klingberg held the line briefly. Florida had a chance to clear, didn't get it done. Ekblad had a second chance, and that's held in at the line by Brett Kulak in the high slot. It's Klingberg. Pressure up top by Barkov. Fed down low to Kane by Nugent-Hopkins. Klingberg, right point, steps up between circles, looks for a lane, shoots, and a blocker save made by Bobrovsky. Kulak did well to hold the zone. Kane got thundered into, put it off the side of the net, and that came free out of the reach of Henrique, and then Klingberg had his shot blocked and went awkwardly into the half wall. Florida with a chance to clear, didn't get it done again. Held in by Kulak. Another opportunity, and finally, Forsling backhands it through Klingberg as Nugent Hopkins drilled him. That'll do it for the Edmonton power play. The Oilers are 1 for 5. Klingberg retrieving the puck up the left-hand side for Ekholm. 10 minutes to play in this hockey game. Florida 5, Edmonton 1 in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Oilers took Game 1. Panthers answered to get the split, and it's looking increasingly like the Oilers will have to do the same thing. Get the second one on the road to gain home ice advantage back in this series. Bennett kept it in the Edmonton zone. The chance of we want the cup going, and now Bennett getting popped from behind, and this one ready to explode, and now Bennett's on top, and now we've got mayhem breaking out. Gadjevich and Greer, big punches landed. Gadjevich throwing left hands on Darnell Nurse. That's the principal bout here. Gadjevich and Nurse as Greer roughed up Ekholm.
Gadjevich trying to get the takedown, Jack.
Gadjevich can't get the takedown. Schmidt now engaged with Connor Brown, and we've got a line brawl. 3 fights. Kulikov and Arvidsson initially wrapped up, and now Gadjevich has his right hand free and eats a right uppercut from Darnell Nurse. Gadjevich lands a left jab. And then a right hook. Nurse landed a couple uppercuts early, but now Gadjevich has caught him a couple times. Nurse getting that right hand free. Takes a chopping right and another right hand and a left jab. Nurse fires back with a right uppercut and a second right hand over the top. Right hook Gadjevich. Tremendous fight right at the blue line in front of the Oiler bench. Gadjevich left jab. Nurse short with an uppercut. Right hook Gadjevich. What a fight. Still not breaking it up. Gadjevich and Nurse stretching one another out. Gadjevich short with a right hook. And now I think, well, Nurse threw one more right hand, and finally they're tied up. Terrific fight between two tough customers. That was a situation where you had Gadjevich, Greer, and Bennett out there. Nurse was out there for Edmonton, but ultimately that played right into the fivesome that Florida had out on the ice, Bob.
Yep.
And for the Oilers, you didn't have Kane, you didn't have Podkolzin, you didn't have some of the guys.
You're going to have him next.
Right.
You're going to have him next.
9:31 to go, third period. Well, you kind of knew that was coming. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, and really Game 10 of the Stanley Cup Final if you want to go back to last year. Two great teams who don't necessarily like one another. You don't have to make for great hockey. The Panthers look like they've got this one in the bag. It's 5-1 in Game 3 when we come back with Four Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Stanley Cup Finals. Jose and I would like to know where you are watching from in the chat. Jose, where are they watching from, buddy? You don't care. He really doesn't care, but we care. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat, and let's see where the world is gathering from here on Toronto Sports Insider, cheering on the Panthers or the Oilers. Hopefully the Oilers for Canada. Let's go, Canada! Let us know your city and province. I want to see all those Canadian flags just flying through the chat. As well as, if you're in the United States, let us know your city and state. All over the world, let's see your international locations. Let us know what country you're watching from. And oh yeah, check out our live viewers tab on our website to see where everyone in the world is watching from. It's also pinned in the description. We might be shooting it out in the chat as well, so keep a lookout for that one. And let's get back to the hockey. Good luck to your team, but the Oilers are bringing the cup back to Canada. Come on, boys, let's go!
Holy Mackinac! As we are passing 100,000 insiders on Toronto Sports Insider, the playoff pulse is a global force. Visit TorontoSportsInsider.com to see our live viewer map and where fans are cheering from right across the globe. While you're there, check out our awesome new website and fresh merch options. Let's keep growing this global community.
I think Greer and Gadjevich and Bennett might be getting the rest of the night off for Florida. And I think the Oilers nurse, along with Frederick, probably, I would think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, not many others were involved from an Oiler perspective. Nurse and Frederick, but like Ekholm wasn't fighting. He was getting popped by A.J. Greer.
Yep.
In my mind, you could very well see an Edmonton power play out of this.
I think it'll be 3 misconducts for 3 misconducts. That's my prediction.
Well, you've got Nurse and Frederick going off. I mean, I don't know whether Ekholm would necessarily merit a misconduct.
I mean, Ekholm got jumped.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't see how you give him the gate. But I think they might have, Bob. And Ekholm was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. He's out, too. So I told you, 3-10s for 3-10s. But 9-31. This is gamesmanship.
That doesn't necessarily make it right.
No.
Ekholm did not deserve a 10 there.
This is no, it does not make it right. This is game management on the part of 2 veteran officials. And my guess is they probably told Evander Kane no BS here. Well, right now, Perry's in the box for the Oilers. Is Edmonton shorthanded? They are. The Oilers are shorthanded.
They got the extra 2. So this is an 8th power play for Florida out of that. And they're sticking with their top unit. Barkov wins the faceoff. Tkachuk wired a shot. That was blocked by Kulak. Now, this may be Paul Maurice trying to get, in particular, Barkov going offensively. Reinhart to Seth Jones on the right-hand side against the Oiler penalty killers of Nugent Hopkins, Henrique, Bouchard, and Kulak. Tkachuk threw it up the boards, and Jones was unable to hold the zone. 9 minutes to play in regulation. Florida comfortably ahead at 5-1. Jones kicks it back to Barkov. Coming into this game, Florida was 1 of 28 on the power play at home. They're 2 for 7.
Well, they keep giving them free opportunities, Jack. Too many men on the ice.
A couple of reckless plays early by Evander Kane.
Put the puck over the glass by Stuart Skinner.
Panthers dump it in. Seth Jones inside to Tkachuk. Forked it free for Ekblad. Paul Maurice was asked about that home road discrepancy on the power play because, of course, they're 40% on the road, and he said, we don't know. I'm not going to try to give you an answer. Rifled by Verhaeghe on net. Skinner made a good save, and Janmark controlled the rebound and brought it all the way up the ice. Tried to hit Podkolzin, but Marchand with a steal. Brad Marchand breaks loose of Podkolzin, tried to make a move around Klingberg and turned it over. Podkolzin threw it across, and now you've got Wallman trying to spin off a check from Forsling at center ice. 8 minutes to play in regulation. Florida 5, Edmonton 1. And the Panthers on the power play for the next 20 seconds with Perry serving an extra 2. Nate Schmidt on to Carter Verhaeghe. Brad Marchand worked over by Kapanen. Tried to go inside, and Kapanen made the steal. He'll bring it to center and loft it behind the Florida defense, and that'll do it for the Panther power play.
2 for 8.
Edmonton 1 for 5. Florida 2 for 8. Again, 1 for 28 on home ice coming in during these Stanley Cup playoffs. Nearly identical power play rate from the Oilers this year. A drive from distance, and Bobrovsky had trouble handling the rebound. Perry dislodged to Bouchard, and his shot rocketed out of play by an active stick from Sam Reinhart. With 7:05 remaining in this third period, and the score 5-1 Florida will have a face-off to Bobrovsky's left-hand side. Calvin Pickard has come on for Stuart Skinner and stopped all 5 shots that he's seen. Meanwhile, Sergei Bobrovsky closing in on yet another solid performance in the Stanley Cup final at home. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane out there with 7 minutes to play in the third. Kulak and Bouchard defensively. Draisaitl wins the face-off, and it's going to be whistled down. And if it's a face-off involving Leon Draisaitl, that should surprise no one listening to this broadcast. Draisaitl pleading his case, but McDavid will step in for him. Against Barkov. A reminder, Game 4 Thursday night. We'll have it for you at 6:20 Mountain from Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Off the draw, Mikkola lost a battle to Evander Kane, who powered it back behind the net. Reinhart to Barkov, who turns, waits, sends it over to Seth Jones, collected, and then failed to clear it out of the zone, although Draisaitl juggled and lost the handle back to center. So Edmonton must reload. Kulak and Bouchard out there on the power play, and it's Kulak who takes a lead pass from Draisaitl and flips it behind the Florida defense. As now we've got 5-on-5 hockey. Draisaitl against Barkov. Threw it around the boards. Bouchard steps up with a shot from distance and a stick save made by Bobrovsky. Kane thundered into Barkov. Bobrovsky made a blocker save on a shot from distance against Kulak. Verhaeghe comes over to handle the puck for Florida and works it behind the net for Seth Jones. He knifes it ahead for Verhaeghe, and it's carved out of the corner and down the ice, and a big hit on Verhaeghe. And Verhaeghe might be a little shaken up. And Kane might get the gate here. Are they just sending Kane off? I mean, is it a boarding penalty, or are they just giving him an arbitrary 10?
I think he got a stick up on Verhaeghe behind the play here.
It looked like he was pointing toward the gate like automatic ejection here. Let's get the call.
There's a major penalty on the play. Play's under review.
Oh, Kane on his way by kind of jabbed the stick near Verhaeghe's face. He caught a piece of him, and then a big slash. Verhaeghe chopped down by Bouchard. Bouchard was actually the man that chopped Verhaeghe down. That's not a.
He barely touched him.
Right.
He barely touched him.
Bouchard, did he get away with a slash? That's what we don't know. I mean, Evander Kane, there's no way that's a 5-minute major. But a huge windup from Evan Bouchard on the slash to Verhaeghe. They missed the slash.
Might be on Booch and not Kane. Here's the call.
Number 91, Edmonton's got a minor for a slash and a 10-minute misconduct.
They just wanted him out of the game. That's all they did. They just wanted him out of the game.
Now, Bouchard, you certainly could have called a slash and a 10-minute misconduct if you wanted to. So this will be power play number 9 for Florida. 6:05 to go in the third period. And Bob, this one feels about as long as the double overtime affair we called the other night in Edmonton. But of course, this one will be decided within the 60 minutes. Henrique and Nugent Hopkins lining up for the draw, and Barkov wins the faceoff. Here's Matthew Tkachuk, left circle, curled it back to Seth Jones. Tkachuk coming off the goal line, peers inside, threw it across, that was tipped. Barkov, the Florida captain, swung it back to Jones. No lane, Barkov. Pressure from Henrique. Up top, Nugent Hopkins, a shot deflected wide of Pickard. Tkachuk on the rebound. Klingberg and Wallman out there, rounding out the Napa Auto Parts penalty-killing foursome. Shoveled behind the net by Ekblad. Tkachuk let it go through. Reinhart, Barkov up top for Seth Jones. Inside to Reinhart, a one-timer to save made by Pickard. Rebound shoveled out by Nugent Hopkins. Down the ice and more pushing and shoving. And now Wallman threw a big right hand. Ekblad comes flying in. Wallman threw a huge right hand trying to catch Matthew Tkachuk. And more posturing, squaring up. Ekblad looks like he might want to fight out of this. Nugent Hopkins and Reinhart jab one another. Now, Nugent Hopkins was a question mark for this game. Ordinarily, that might be a fight that Nugent Hopkins could be goaded into and would take. But he's not going to take it in this situation. Ekblad wanted a chunk of Wallman for throwing that haymaker at Matthew Tkachuk, but he's restrained by linesman Trent Noor. And more penalties to follow here as this game 3.
96 Edmonton has 4 minutes roughing, 2 minutes unsportsmanlike. Number 5 Florida has double minor roughing, 2 minutes up on Edmonton.
He said 4 Florida, he means 5 Florida, which is Ekblad. And this game is starting to
deteriorate.
And it's a ponderous conclusion. So they'll sort out this. Wallman's gone for the game. 5:16 remaining third period. Well, you start thinking about adjustments, quite frankly, for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, Bob. If you want to, the opportunity for lineup changes there. Wallman with Klingberg holding Tkachuk.
He got his
landed a couple of shots, and then Ekblad came flying in to protect Tkachuk. That reminded me years ago, Bob, and I don't know whether you were following the league that closely. I think it was Andrew Toney that pinned Larry Bird's arms back behind him, and Julius Erving popped him a couple times.
That reminded me of when Ryan Whitney in Arizona behind the goal. And was it Derek Morris got a free hand on Ryan Whitney and landed like, was it, so it's a 5-on-3.
5-on-3. McDavid's serving the extra penalty. It's the 9th. It's going to be the 9th power play for Florida when it's all said and done. 5-on-3. Rodriguez up to Schmidt, and now Seth Jones left circle. Kulak, Klingberg, and Janmark out there for Edmonton. Here's a dish to Jones. He'll move it for Hagee, net front present. Well, now Florida's called off the dogs here. Rodriguez, one-timer. That was blocked by Klingberg. Nosek is playing net front for Hagee on the right flank, and Schmidt and Jones up top. Tried to slither it through, did Verhaeghe to Rodriguez. Broken up by Janmark, and the 5-on-3 down to 25 seconds. 4.5 left in the third period. Florida 5 and Edmonton 1. Here's Seth Jones working his way down the right-hand side for Niko Mikkola. Luostarinen to Mikkola. Jones, right circle, wrist shot, and that was blistered up top and out of play. Kulak got the deflection. Kapanen flattened Luostarinen and is immediately worked out of there by Trent Noor. And the officials are just trying to get this game over with. 4:13 to go in the third period. Kapanen got a heavy piece of Luostarinen. Just cross-check to Luostarinen for no apparent reason. And
Edmonton 42, 2 minutes clock checking, 10 in misconduct.
yeah, that's a 2 and a 10. And if this keeps going, Bob may have to shed the blue suit and get down there in his old. What were the last pair of skates
They're at
you
the
owned?
house.
What's that?
They're at the house, Jack.
No, but what brand?
Super Tax.
All right. So with 4:13 to play in the third, it's going to be a 5-on-3 for about another 8 seconds, then another 49 seconds.
Kapanen had a nice engaging conversation with some of the luminaries behind the Oilers bench.
And who would that be? Did you lay eyes on him?
No, the fans.
Oh, not a fan. I mean, there are a lot of luminaries here.
Yeah.
You know them all. You just don't introduce me. Face off on the dot immediately outside the Edmonton blue line. Nosek will line up against Connor Brown. Klingberg and Kulak round out, and the Edmonton bench is lonely right now. You've got 6 players, plus the 3 are on the ice. Edmonton's finishing this game with 9 skaters. Here's Forsling stepping up. 5-on-3, remember. Mikkola with control of the puck for Florida. Mikkola to Rodriguez. One-timer score. 6-1. That's Rodriguez's second goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the 5th over 2 years head-to-head against Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. Time 16:10. Third power play goal of the night for Florida. And 5th in this series. And again, last year in the Stanley Cup final, Florida was 1 for 21 on the power play with 2 shorthanded goals against. Rodriguez from Mikkola, 6-1. Face off at center, a battle of 92s, but Colson wins it against Tomas Nosek. Florida still on the power play for another minute 40. Kulak clears and drills it down the middle of the ice. And there's some pushing and shoving involving Nosek and Kulak, who brought his elbow up pretty high on Nosek. Gaining the line at center is Gustav Forsling. He'll send it in, but Colson clears length of the ice. Forsling, by the way, will get a second assist on the scoring play. 6-1 Florida, 3:10 to go in the third. Bumped in by Lundell, hammered down the ice by Kulak, and more penalties. Kulak.
It's going to be a penalty on Florida for an elbow to the head.
Well, Kulak got away with an elbow on the head on the prior shift to Nosek, and then Luostarinen came over and retaliated against Kulak, and I think he's getting called here.
27, Florida's got a minor for a charge.
Oh, a charge officially. So we'll play 4-on-4 for the next 58 seconds, and then Edmonton will get a power play for a minute 2. That's if everything holds up. And this third period is aging my partner by the minute.
Oh, it happens once in a while.
I think you might need a touch-up by the...
I don't need a touch-up. You want to put some skates on me, I'll go out there and go run somebody and cross-check somebody as well. Got no problem with that. 3 minutes
to go in the third. I'm just talking about the length of this game.
I understand the frustrations got out of control, and Edmonton's going to have to play completely composed on Thursday. They're going to have a chance to recalibrate.
Here's Barkov. Around McDavid, dishing off. Kulikov, backhander denied by Pickard. Rebound stayed out. McDavid got it ahead for Leon Draisaitl. Pestered by Nate Schmidt. This is a 4-on-4 situation. You got McDavid and Draisaitl out there, principally because Edmonton's down to 9 skaters. Otherwise, they likely would not touch the ice in a 6-1 contest.
No.
Draisaitl dropping it off for Bouchard, and he will leisurely skate off the ice alongside McDavid as the Oilers prepare to go on a power play here.
Just want to get this game over with, Jack, if you're Edmonton. And it's a best of 7, not a best of 3.
Henrique checked by Jones as he entered the zone on the right-hand side. And Jones with the puck. Edmonton officially on an Atco power play for half of what's remaining in the game as we go inside 2 minutes. The We Want the Cup chants from 19,500 plus at Amerant Bank Arena. Bouchard whistles it in deep. Rodriguez wedged it outside and ultimately into the bench. So the faceoff will come out to the neutral zone with 39 seconds left in the penalty to Luostarinen.
Jack, the decision to toss both Ekholm and Frederick out of the game when they were basically jumped in that sequence was something. And that was classic game management from the officials. Same with the play on Evander Kane. I mean, he barely touched the Florida player. Give him a little bit of a love tap.
Here's Bouchard stepping up. A sliding stop made by Bobrovsky. Rebound available. Connor Brown couldn't finish. Here's a feed inside for Podkolzin. Knocked off a stick and back to the red line. This is an Oiler power play, remember. Bouchard off to Janmark. Nosek, Brown, and Arvidsson. Here's Janmark hitting the line. Arvidsson jabbed off a stick. Bouchard will put it around the board, stepping up and maintaining as Janmark cross-seamer. Broken up by Lundell, who's able to one-hand it down the ice, and that'll do it for the Oiler power play. Final minute. Florida's going to win this hockey game and take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4, Thursday night. 6:20 Mountain right here on the Oilers Radio Network. But Colson jumps inside Mikkola. Got it in deep. Finishes his check on Seth Jones. Tugged up the left-hand side, Rodriguez. Backs off as Klingberg settles it down for Edmonton. Final half minute. And what's left of this crowd waving their white towels and celebrating a Florida victory that pulls the Panthers within 2 wins of a second consecutive Stanley Cup. Perry tried to get inside, could not. Luostarinen banged into by Kulak. And now Mikkola will safely backhand it through the middle. Final 10 seconds, and Klingberg, I believe, will just keep it on his stick. Uncorks a blast at Bobrovsky, to save made. Perry wants to fight Mikkola.
No, he doesn't need to do that.
Gloves,
doesn't need to do that.
They don't, and now Connor Brown gives Mikkola a bit of a stick. This one ready to explode here. Perry wrapped up with an official. Nosek throwing hands on Corey Perry.
The official is doing a favor.
To separate the two.
He's doing a favor to Corey Perry because right now it's a fighting major in the final 5 minutes of the game. They'll give them roughing penalties and misconducts just so the guys don't get suspended for the next game.
Meanwhile, all the rats come tumbling into the ice. So you've got rats, plastic rats landing on the ice surface. Brown and Mikkola jawing at one another. And ultimately, the players will be pried apart.
I can't believe the refs have not got this under control yet.
They finally separate Perry and Rodriguez, and Perry reluctantly heads to the dressing room, and Florida has the finishing touches finally on a 6-1 victory in Game 3. The shot's 33-31 in favor of Edmonton, but Florida, the key sequence in this game after Corey Perry brought the Oilers to within 2-1, Sam Reinhart off a turnover scored a minute 20 later, and then when Sam Bennett scored on basically a partial 2-on-0,
it was game over.
The Florida Panthers were able to ride it home from there, and they win comfortably on home ice by a count of 6-1. Oilers outshot the Panthers in 2 of the 3 periods, but ultimately
it's quite irrelevant, isn't it? Yeah,
quite irrelevant. 6-1 your final, and Edmonton, I think, now has to channel what Florida did in Game 2. The Panthers were disappointed. They let a third period lead and a 3-1 advantage in Game 1 get away. But when the night was down on Friday, they could say, we have our split. We got what we came for. I think Edmonton, regardless of the final score tonight, has to look at Game 4 the same way. If the Oilers win on Thursday night, they've regained home ice, and it's a best of 3, and 2 of the games will be played at Rogers Place.
There's only one thing that has to happen on Thursday. Edmonton must play with composure. And hopefully they got the crap out of their system tonight. I get it. It's a team that pisses you off. They're in your face. And by the way, their goalie ended up being a third star tonight because when there were chances for the Oilers to get some looks,
he was good. But Bobrovsky was good. And I don't blame, Stuart Skinner, especially on the 5th goal. It's a 5, it's basically an
the Oilers the Oilers were unglued. They were out of sorts. I don't know what happened. We're going to have to dig in to find out why they played with the sort of emotional They just were not balanced. It has not been part of their modus operandi.
For a month and a half. You got to go back to April the 23rd. So that's 6 weeks ago, where, again, Edmonton got itself in penalty trouble, gave up 3 power play goals, and lost in a rout 6-2. That was the game, interestingly enough, that ushered in Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
And Pickard won game 3 and won the next 6.
Couldn't fall behind early, fell behind early.
Right.
Then you had a chance in the power play, couldn't score in your power play. They end up getting one. With 2 minutes left in the first period, you get an early power play goal, but a giveaway on the 3-1 goal, and maybe you could argue that Klingberg was stripped. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Edmonton got run over today.
So, there were some changes after game 2 of the LA series.
I'm starting Pickard.
That's one. You're starting Pickard for game 4.
And I'm putting Stetcher in for Klingberg.
Stetcher for Klingberg. Those are the two changes.
Yes, partially because I think he can help settle Nurse down when they play together. Okay? So, Klingberg ended up having a rough one today. What got thrown on the ice there? Holy cow.
All the rats.
Well, that's not all that got thrown on the ice. Anyways, bottom line here is I'm making at least 2 changes into the lineup. Clearly tonight's the night where you miss Hyman, but hey, they went through this before. It was an ugly night. Those sort of things happen once in a while. This team has been very good in games 4 through 7 in the series. They're going to have to dig deep. They got pounded tonight, but they were the author of their own demise. Jack, the Florida Panthers ended up 3 for 11 on the power play. Got 3 for 10 or 3 for 11. I ran out of space on my card.
I had 3 for 10, but that doesn't mean you're wrong, because
occasionally I am wrong.
After a while, I started to lose interest in the parade to the penalty box.
I don't think much more needs to be said. I'm making a couple changes. I'm probably going to start Pickard. Okay? I'm going to start Pickard because that saves me to start Skinner in game 5 at home. So I'm going to give Pickard a start.
Unless you win game 4.
Then you're
Pickard is significant in that victory.
Then you give him a second start.
You're a Western Conference team. I think you've got to roll that way.
So do I.
I mean, there's no...
And you're built like the drop-off for them is so substantive. Like, Vanacek has got horrendous playoff numbers. Of course, nobody really got in Bobrovsky's grill the entire night.
And he wasn't... But what I'm saying is, when you go through a regular season as a Western Conference team with a 50-30 split, I've always found it curious that it becomes a 25-0 split in the postseason, and that's somehow not controversial.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if
I would start Pickard, and I think they get some juice from putting in, at this point, Stetcher in for Klingberg. Klingberg had a tough evening. He had to end up playing quite a bit because the Oilers were down Wallman and Nurse by the end of the game. Frederick, and unfortunately, and I got...
Ekholm. They were down Ekholm, too. Half of their defense.
I got sent texts from multiple former players saying... Then it got physical, and the Oilers lost that, too, because they ended up getting guys, Nurse. I mean, Gadjevich is legitimately tough. Went toe-to-toe with Nurse. I mean, that was just a old-school...
Terrific fight.
Terrific.
All right. Had to jump in here because just finished up the Jays Live. So welcome to everybody who was hanging out with us for the Blue Jays game tonight. Thank you for making a difference with our Playoff Pulse campaign. Big shout out to Marilyn S. for your donation into SickKids Hospital and our Playoff Pulse campaign, as well as the other donations tonight. Thank you. We will let the post-game run, as always, send you to a favorite of our show here, Guff. We'll see you back in the chat for Game 4, a rough night for the Oilers. 6-1 final for the Panthers. Yikes. But a good night on TSI. Blue Jays get the win. Another big win. Blue Jays are playing well right now. I love it. Thanks for supporting our journey here. Over 100,000 subscribers. 106,396. We'll let the post-game run. Till the end, go Oilers, go. We'll see you back in the chat. See ya. Game 4. Let's go, Oilers fans. Good night, everybody.
One goal midway through the second period, and really the Panthers never looked back. Corey Perry, by the way, only Draisaitl and Bennett have more goals than he does in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bennett with 14, Draisaitl 10, and Perry and Mikko Rantanen, who of course is no longer competing, sitting there with 9. Stuart Skinner will take the loss. He's now 7-6 in this postseason as he issues 5 goals on 23 shots. Calvin Pickard in relief stopped 7 of 8. And Sergei Bobrovsky at the other end, pretty solid for Florida. 32 stops on 33 shots. He improves his Stanley Cup playoff record to 14-6 this year and 59-49 over the course of his often brilliant 15-year career. The Florida Panthers have taken a 2-1 lead in this best-of-7 Stanley Cup final, with the Oilers having an opportunity to wrestle home ice advantage back in their favor with a Game 4 victory. We'll see whether they can do it, and we'll have that for you right here on the Oilers Radio Network Thursday night, 6:20 Mountain Time. Until then, for Bob Stauffer, Bryn Griffiths, and Rob Brown, I'm Jack Michaels saying good night from Sunrise, Florida. The final score, the Panthers 6, the Oilers 1. Florida leads the Stanley Cup final 2-1. Ladies and gentlemen, the pleasure was all ours. The Rogers Postgame Show starts right now.
Exclusive live interviews, expert analysis, and game highlights. This is the Rogers Postgame Show. Once again, here's Bob Stauffer on the Oilers Radio Network.
Got no Connor McDavid on the power play unit. Shot by Bouchard, ripped home by Corey Perry, and the Oilers get a power play goal without Connor McDavid on the ice. It's Perry who scores on the man advantage, and the Oilers whittle the deficit to 2-1.
Well, that's the type of night it was. The color guy who prides himself in not interrupting the play-by-play guy when he's calling the game bags him on the play, and that's the only goal the Oilers scored. And that's as close as Edmonton got, and then 2 quick goals right after in the second period for the Florida Panthers, and were off and running, and there's really no way to sugarcoat this tonight. The Panthers were better in every facet of the game, and that is the highlight zone for Century Casino, all in all games all season. Century Casino, 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, next to the Edmonton International Airport at Century Mile. Welcome to the Winter Zone. This is the Rogers Postgame Show from the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth on the Oilers Radio Network.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
RS Breakers and Controls, Canada's leader in new, used, tested, and obsolete circuit breakers, MCC buckets, bus plugs, and switches. They have everything you need to maintain your aging electrical infrastructure, ensuring it operates as good as new. Their 24/7 emergency response gets you back up and running quickly, saving valuable time and money. Minimal generators or modifications needed, and like-for-like replacements mean no special inspections. Don't replace, repair your legacy equipment with RS. Visit rsbreakers.com.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
This is the Rogers Postgame Show on the Oilers Radio Network.
All right, well, obviously on a night like tonight, we're going to be hard-pressed. In fact, we're just going to pass on it. The plus play of the game brought to you by Catelli Protein Plus. With the classic taste of Catelli and 17 grams of protein, it's the most delicious way to score with your taste buds on and off the ice. We're in the Rogers Postgame Show. No Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance, goal of game, health, dental, travel. We got the coverage you need. Visit ab.bluecross.ca. This was, you could argue this here, and here's the thing about textbook Florida Panthers hockey. They can score. In fact, now they're the highest scoring team in the NHL in the playoffs. And they crushed the Oilers tonight 6-1, and this game was played at the Panthers' emotional tenor. Edmonton is a team that plays its best, calm and under control. We didn't see any of that tonight. We bring aboard our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. Your thoughts?
Well, a few things, Bob. First, the special teams lopsided in the favor of the Florida Panthers. Goaltending, I don't blame Skinner, but Bobrovsky was outstanding. So goaltending lopsided in the favor of the Florida Panthers. So goaltending, specialty teams, you're better in both in a lopsided way, you're going to win. But I think the biggest thing for me in this game, Bob, the Oilers tried to play the Panthers style of hockey, and the Panthers are better at it. When you cross the line, when you're after every whistle getting in the face of the opposition, cheap shots, that's how Florida plays. And Florida's very good at it. And the Oilers got frustrated. And the Oilers did not, as you said, their calm demeanor was not there tonight. And they were the aggressors. They were the initiators. They were the ones that were retaliating. That's not how the Oilers have been successful. They usually play like their coaches. Very, very calm. Okay, you slap me in the head, I'm going to go score in the power play. Okay, there's a cross check from behind, I'm going to smile at you. And then the next time I get an opportunity, I'm going to drive you through the boards cleanly. But the Oilers, after every whistle, behind the play, and it just completely took them out of their game. So to me, the Oilers tried playing the Panthers game.
Failed and got to get back.
And you're not going to have success that. Force the Panthers to play your style, because that's where the Oilers would have been successful.
All right. I'm putting Stetcher in for Klingberg. I'm starting Pickard. What about you? Too radical of moves?
I don't know if the Stetcher one is radical, because Stetcher, before he got pulled out for Ekholm, Stetcher was playing very, very well. He was a good player being pulled out simply because you had a better player coming back. The one thing that Stetcher has, Bob, is speed. And if you are trying to escape a aggressive forechecking team, which Florida is, getting back to the puck a little bit quicker will help. So that wouldn't surprise me for Klingberg. It's a gutsy call to put Pickard in, but we've seen Chris Knoblauch make gutsy calls like that before. The fact that he let him play in the third period allows Pickard to get his feet wet in a playoff finals game. I wouldn't do it, but it wouldn't shock me.
All right, Rob, great stuff.
Sounds good, Bob.
This is the Rogers Postgame Show on the Oilers Radio Network.
Bloom Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage. You want to go? Counseling services. Let's go. Dental coverage. That was not offside. And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
Did you know that there are 9 Napa Auto Parts stores serving the greater Edmonton area and have been doing so for more than 50 years? Since Napa first opened in Edmonton, the community has grown and vehicles have changed, but you can always trust Napa Auto Parts to provide you with the expert know-how and the best vehicle parts. And if that isn't enough, every time you visit a Napa Auto Parts store when you present your AMA card, you receive an additional 10% discount on all retail parts and accessories. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for more offers and expert know-how. Napa Auto Parts is a proud fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
You're tuned in to the Rogers Postgame Show on the official voice of the Edmonton Oilers, 880 Chad, and on the Oilers Radio Network.
All right, no pizza out of town scoreboard tonight. Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. It's the only game in the NHL, and it wasn't pretty for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers now trail the best of 7 Stanley Cup final, 2-1. Too much time in the box, by my count, shorthanded 11 times in this hockey game, including 6 times in the third period. Edmonton beat 6-1. This is the Rogers Postgame Show on the Oilers Radio Network.
Fridays just got fired up. Prime rib for $20.99. Coors tankards for $9.99. And White Claw and Olay deals after 4 p.m. Only at the Canadian Brew House. Our house is your house.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. Big skies, rugged landscapes. Now that's Alberta in a nutshell. And if you're looking for an SUV that can keep up with this place, check out the Ford Bronco. Built for those who crave adventure, with serious off-road capability and style to spare. Whether you're hitting the mountain trails or exploring the back roads, it's the perfect ride for those who want to experience everything this province has to offer. The Ford Bronco. Adventure awaits at your Alberta Ford dealer. And
to every child and family who've needed us since 1875, and all who support us, our hospital needs no introduction. But just in case, it's SickKids. And it's our 150th birthday. Our mission has always been healthier children, a better world. The first children's hospital in Canada, SickKids. Pasteurizing milk to prevent disease 30 years before it was mandatory. The heart-lung machine that transformed open heart surgery. A pediatric kidney transplant in 1969. SickKids. SickKids. And SickKids. We discovered the gene for cystic fibrosis so patients live longer lives. And we just created the world's first Atlas of Cancer, using machine learning to analyze 13,000 variations. Today, the hospital sees over 130,000 patients a year. We're a research powerhouse, a training magnet, attracting nearly 600 clinical and research fellows from around the globe every year. And we're the #1 publicly funded children's hospital in the world. We're celebrating 150 years of excellence, driven by philanthropy. What's next? Thanks to donors like you, we're going to keep healing Canada and the world, and we're going to heal the future.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kids cut.
Thank you for helping us save kids' lives.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being. Thank you.
On Sirius XM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Monday, June the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL Stanley Cup Finals with puck drop at 8 p.m., catch the Florida Panthers taking on the Edmonton Oilers with the Panthers feed on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 931. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Monday, June the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL Stanley Cup Finals with puck drop at 8 p.m., catch the Florida Panthers taking on the Edmonton Oilers with the Panthers feed on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 931. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. National feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Monday, June the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL Stanley Cup Finals with puck drop at 8 p.m., catch the Florida Panthers taking on the Edmonton Oilers with the Panthers feed on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 931, Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Monday, June the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL Stanley Cup Finals with puck drop at 8 p.m., catch the Florida Panthers taking on the Edmonton Oilers with the Panthers feed on Sirius 211 XM 220 and Internet 931, Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 91.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to share what it was like to play in the 1994 finals with the New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run.